Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast number 53. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. Joined here in our non-studio audience is Johnny V.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Our non-studio audience. Okay.
I don't get it. I'm confused.
Our non-audience studio? Is that better?
That
Our
does
non-audience studio. There we go.
Non-audience studio.
All right. We've got Johnny V and myself again. This is podcast number 53. We're one below par right now.
What? Yeah, we are.
If you really think about it. I mean, that 54 is a magic number in our sport, or it's at least a very common number that so many people talk about, and we are just one below that at the moment. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but is next week going to be special?
54 for par? No.
No? Okay. I'm good with that. Well, tonight's going to be special. Have you ever noticed, real quick side note,
Okay.
every single talk show, every single night, I'm getting more and more into talk shows. We see, Jimmy Fallon obviously taking over the late night show not too long ago, and then now we see our friend Stephen Colbert, our friend, like we know him.
Yeah,
he's pretty much like a brother
our
to
tight
us.
bro.
See him taking over the show. Gosh, I can't stand Craig Ferguson, but that's another story.
He's not even doing it anymore.
I know. I saw him
Really?
on.
I think he has his really good moments
No.
with guests.
When? Find one. Send it to me.
Look up any interview he does with Kristen Bell.
Okay.
They're very good. I really like his interviewing. I'm not a big fan of his monologue. Sometimes, either way.
I don't know. Not a fan. He was on at midnight the other last night, and
Sure.
it was mildly funny there.
I like At Midnight.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of.
Anyway, not
Chris
a fan.
Hardwick.
So we see all. I think we're going. We see all these new talk show hosts, and one thing they always say is we have a great show for you tonight. And I always think, did they ever say we got a mediocre show for you tonight? We're calling it in tonight. I think we're going. It's going to be an all right show. I don't know. I don't know. I think they're all going to be great. So we're glad to be here. Again, this is podcast 53. We don't have necessarily a featured guest. I want to put it right out there right away. One of the natural or most obvious choices may have been Michael Johansson, who won, spoiler alert, he won the National Tour event this last weekend. However, Michael Joe, when we reached out to him, said he had some other things going on tonight. We have Zotron.
We do have Zotron
coming back. It's been a while. She's always busy. She might be the busiest woman in disc golf, whether she's giving lessons or traveling around the country or doing something. She's always out and doing something. So we're glad to have her check in with us for a little bit tonight. I think she's going to start on her end of season things to think about. So disc golf, I love you. And welcome back. Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, the system kind of just crashed on us.
What? Why?
I don't know.
All right. Well, welcome back.
I don't know.
Did they notice it?
They did notice. I mean, it should come back really quick, but we're getting a lot of lag in the video, and
Okay.
I don't know why. All of our numbers look good.
You said lag, not lag, right?
Lag.
Okay.
Lag. It's really
Okay.
stuttery. If you look at the video, you can kind of see that.
Huh.
I have no clue why it's happening. Everything it says here, Stream Health is really good. This and that. So,
how's my hair?
your hair looks good. No
Okay.
matter what's happening with your hair,
Okay.
it's looking good.
All right. I just wanted to be sure that we have our priorities straight.
We do.
Well, anyway, welcome back, everyone. So tonight, besides having Zoe rejoin us and having a quick conversation with her, we also have a kind of a special pair that are going to be joining us. There was a story that I saw on the internet yesterday, and I reached out to them, and we're going to have a update, we'll say, a little check-in.
Sure.
With a really nice, touching story that took place over in Michigan a few weeks ago. So pretty excited to do that. And then we'll chit-chat about all the normal stuff. We'll have some picks. We'll have some other random stuff. I've actually got a pretty exciting announcement that we'll get to. So I'm trying to book a plane ticket. I literally need to find my credit card and get this finally booked. And as soon as I hit confirm on this, I'll be able to announce it in all of its glory. Some pretty exciting stuff that I have going on in the world of disc golf. So we'll be talking about that as well as soon as I can find a credit card. If somebody has a credit card they could borrow me,
just type it in, type your number in there
put it
in
right
the chat.
into the comment section.
In the comment section, we will get to it, I promise. And
if I could just borrow that for a few minutes, but no, really exciting. So I say we get right to our first set of guests. Like I said, there was a unique story that took place, so we're going to reach out to them in just a moment. And to give you a little precursor, I say we show you the video, and then you'll know exactly who we're going to be talking to. So, without further ado,
All right.
let's get to it. Scott Stokely and Kristen.
Well,
Just
Labor
kidding.
Day weekend 2015 is just about here. We're going to be heading up north after work today. While we're up north, we're going to be doing some disc golfing, and I'm going to be using this very special disc here that I had custom made. And after I use that disc, I'm going to be pulling out another accessory right here. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned to find out. Nailed it.
Wait, Amber. I have a different disc I want you to try. Try this one. I think this one would be good for you. Will you marry me?
Will you marry me?
This just doesn't feel real. Yes.
She said yes.
She said yes.
We're disc golfing, me and Adam and his dad and the girls, and we're at hole 13. And Adam wanted a special disc for me to try. And it says, "I love you, Amber. Will you marry me?"
Shut up. Aw. That's cool. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mom.
I'm the disc golf guy.
And welcoming to the show, we have Adam and Amber. Congratulations to the two of you, and welcome to Smashbox TV. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Thank you very much.
Well, good to hear. Very exciting transitions taking place. We're so glad to see it, and the fact that you have recorded it, and just proves where we're moving here in today's society. And it's a very awesome and special moment. Tell us, was there any doubt or hesitation whatsoever there, Adam? Did you were you a little scared about it?
I was a little nervous about it. Mainly, I was just mainly nervous that I wouldn't be able to pull it off in the way that I had hoped.
Okay.
And for like that was on hole 13. For the first 12 holes, I was sweating a lot and just trying to keep my cool and keep calm and not be too suspicious.
Now, that's immediately, I got to say, the first thing I thought when I watched it and then rewatched it was, hole 13, any significance? Was that just the right time and place versus, any other hole that you may have had it planned for, the beginning of the round, near the end, anything like that?
Yeah, it did have some significance. The number 13, she's considered it kind of like her lucky number.
Okay.
She was born on a Friday the 13th.
Awesome.
Her parents got married on September 13th. So like the number 13 had importance to her, so I figured that would be a nice number to do it at.
That's perfect. Now, how long have one or both of you been playing disc golf, and who got the other one into it?
I've been playing it fairly regularly for about 4 years now, and she had never played until she met me. I kind of forced her into it.
Now, Amber, were you? I guess the positive of this is, had you said no, you would have had a great marriage fail video, and that would have probably done really well.
Yeah, that probably would have got a lot more hits.
Jeez.
No, but it's so glad that everything went well. What are the plans here? Do you guys have a date or any of the details or specifics in that way?
Well, I'm a girl. Of course, I have my whole wedding. Like,
Did she, when you proposed, did she like pull out her wedding binder?
She's like, "Here
this
we
is
go."
what since I've been 7 years old, here are my selections.
So yeah, we're planning a wedding closer to where my family lives, up in Port Huron.
Okay.
Still working out all the details.
And near or on a disc golf course, or minis or baskets, any of the above?
He's already mentioned, and we've already thought about having like disc golf centerpieces or the basket
Yeah, like
centerpieces.
little mini disc golf baskets at the tables or
Yep.
something like that.
Okay.
Gotta
Well,
be involved somehow.
Yeah, there you go. I know I've been to some weddings. I think even my wedding consisted of having a basket. So
There was a basket there.
instead of people, clanging their forks and plates and, glassware together, they had to go up and make a putt in order for anything else to happen. So that was one way to do it. So, and then
I like that.
and then minis, those are a given. You have to have minis made up with your date, engagement and or wedding date. You got to have minis made up so everybody can be throwing those around.
That, little mini discs.
Yeah. I've already started looking.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any help, let me know. I can
Wedding planner galore here.
Wedding planner, disc golf, yeah, you name it.
Perfect. We'll
Right,
be in
I'll give you a
touch.
call.
Talk a little bit real quickly about the course and how often you guys go out and play, and how disc golf's incorporated into your life.
That course is one of probably, I'd say, in my top 5. I haven't played like a whole lot of courses. There's like probably about 10 or 15, not too far from where I live, that I've played. But I put the old airport disc golf course in Augury. I'd put that in my top 5. I like the scenery. It's like all pine trees, and it's pretty cool. It's real easy to find your disc if you throw it in the thick stuff, because it's just pine trees, so there's no thick grass to go through and stuff like that. This year I actually haven't been able to play nearly as much as I've wanted to. The weather has been very crummy. Like whenever I'm available, it's been too wet or cold or too hot. It's just the weather has not cooperated for me much this year. Last year I played almost every weekend a couple times. This year I just haven't played nearly as much as I would like to, but I love it. Ever since probably about 4 years ago is when I started disc golfing more on the regular side, and just anytime I get a chance, I love to get out there and play.
Very cool. What have the responses been online? I mean, anytime you put yourself out there in any way, Amber, have you seen any of the responses as to what people are saying or how it all unfolded?
I mean, a lot of my friends and family seen the video because we posted it to Facebook. Everybody just says how awesome it is and how amazing and how unique it was to get the custom disc, and just how he did it. He really pulled it off.
Yes, that is very cool. I got to ask, what disc was it? I'm guessing it was a dynamic disc, a Dymax job by DD. Is that correct?
The dynamic disc, and then we've got it right here.
The Suspect.
The Suspect. I'm not going to comment on. No.
There's not a good. I mean, all the dynamic discs are good, but there's not a good one to hand somebody and look at it like, oh, this is the felon
or the
thief.
judge,
the thief. You can steal her heart.
Yeah,
that's the thief.
Go. There it
go
is.
that way with it.
Yeah, there's with the theme that they have going. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of the Enforcer. there's a lot of different discs that they make that could be kind of played off of. Well, awesome. Anything you guys would like to share with anyone out there that's been watching or taking it all in?
Hi, Mom.
There you go. Awesome.
What's up, Mark? What's going on, bro?
Awesome. Well, just so you guys know, we do appreciate you guys joining. So it was kind of short notice. I reached out to you after I saw the video. I kind of feel like Ellen. Like she just sees something, and then you call people, and then they join you on the
You're just like
show.
Ellen.
Okay, maybe not. But no, it's awesome. This is this is one of the most unique stories in 53 broadcasts. This is probably one of the more unique stories and something a little outside the box. Normally we have all our like top pros on here, whoopee, and they throw far and win all the time. But this is just an awesome story, and
That's right.
We're really glad you guys could join us tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. This is awesome. I was extremely nervous before this. I've never really done a live podcast before, so I was.
Neither did we. That's the best part.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing yet either. We're 53 in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hopefully, this encourages. I don't encourages marriages and such and lives of happiness. But I'm sure this will inspire some people to go out, get a little bit creative, and do some things, especially in our amazing world of disc golf. So we wish you guys the best of luck. Feel free to give us updates whenever you want. If you set a date or you need your wedding live broadcast,
there you go.
We're available for that.
Do you sponsor weddings?
Other way around. The wedding needs to sponsor us.
Yeah. And beer doesn't count. So, no, but seriously, we wish you guys the best, and feel free to keep us posted. And thanks again for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
All right, that was my phone. I thought that was like
that's an Amber Alert.
Well, it's getting real around here.
Do I need to run upstairs and check on my kids?
I wish. I don't know, but holy cow! I apologize. That is an actual your Amber
phone.
Alert blasting through my phone, which I had pretty much turned all the way down.
Yeah, and a lot of times, even if you mute that still comes through. I think there's a way you can actually turn that off on phones these days. But
so yes, thank you, Adam and Amber, for joining us tonight. Again, a very
setting
cool
the bar
story.
high.
Yes, exactly.
That's not cool. I mean, guys like that make guys like us look bad.
Yeah, they can. They can. There's I think what we're seeing, and because I check out the Pinterest. No, I don't. But if I did, I think you're seeing that more and more creative ways to do it, more ways just to get your engagement filmed. Whether it's a GoPro or a friend, or clever ways to hide it, or other friends that are there and already have their cameras rolling for other reasons, or make it sound like. So it's becoming easier and easier to capture those moments. We talked about this recently. Will Schusterich got engaged.
Yep.
And I know there was a ton of photos that happened immediately after it happened. I don't know if the actual...
Was that the one where they're up on the platform?
Yeah, in downtown Tennessee.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures, but I didn't hear any of the story about it.
Yeah, and I don't know any of the details either. So Will, step your game up, pal. We need to see video of how it all went down. Just saying. That's, no?
We have... I'm going to kind of bump up some things here.
Yep.
That was an engagement.
Yes.
There was a wedding this weekend, a disc golf wedding. There
was. I heard that. We didn't broadcast it live. I think people need to start budgeting for us.
Correct, especially disc golfers.
Yeah.
But anybody, if you know anybody,
yeah.
we're open to that.
I mean, if you think about it,
it's the right price.
All the money that can be saved by both you and your guests.
Yeah, your guests don't even have to come. We'll show them.
Exactly. We could just put it out there on YouTube.
Save like between $14 and $27-8 a plate. We'll save that.
Exactly.
Budget that in right here.
Yep. We can do commentary. I can MC.
We could have a booth like this just set up behind
the. We could interview like in-laws.
Sure. So Uncle Joe, I hear you don't really like the groom.
Well, let me tell you.
It'll get better the later. Like us, the later the night, the better we get.
Yes. So anyway, so that's one idea. Is hiring us for your wedding. You could hire us for your kid's soccer game. I mean, we're called Smashbox, and we've done disc golf, but really, we could film just about anything live. So
yeah, but back to the wedding.
Okay, back to the wedding.
Back to the wedding. I know a friend of ours, not super close with us, but in the community, the media community that we know, Jamie Thomas was married this past weekend. I saw Avery Jenkins was a groomsman.
Yes.
I did not recognize any of the others, so they must be like real friends.
They're actually non-disc golf friends. Some people have those.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah.
So, but congratulations to Jamie Thomas this weekend. I know he basically, they did the wedding, and then he flew out to Vegas for a convention.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, Hi, let's get married. All right, I'll see you later. So she's immediately did she go with?
I don't know if she did or
She
did
could be
not.
immediately a disc golf widow.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I got married, and literally days after that, I went to a nearly identical trade show. I went to the Wisconsin Park and Rec trade show. Jamie Thomas joined UC and some of the other Discmania guys over at the National Park and Rec show.
Sure.
And which is taking place out in Vegas. So I know exactly, I know the game plan here. Well played, Jamie.
Just what you're doing is you're setting a precedent.
Yes,
I mean,
low expectations.
I don't know about that.
Leave as often as you
Leave
can.
as often, yes. So with the traveling lifestyle that a lot of the media have, you just have to really get her. I mean, granted, I don't think she's seen him in 6 months practically,
because he's been so busy.
But he's been so busy. Just make sure to set that precedent right away. That, hey, honey, I know I love you and you love me, but you're not going to see me.
Yeah, I've got disc golfers to shoot. So Jamie Thomas, if you don't know already, you should know. He does a lot of the commentary.
Spin 18
on Spin 18, Spin TV.
Yep.
He's been working with UC and the crew there. He was recently brought onto Spin as a full-time. He was kind of contract, I think, for a while, and freelancing a little bit and working with them quite often. Actually, Jamie was our cameraman for our second ever broadcast.
Was he?
He was. I don't know if it was our second. That's what I was questioning. Not if he was.
Which podcast? Which broadcast?
The broadcast that we did when we filmed the final 9 at Bowling Green.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jamie was our cameraman.
And Avery was the commentator, and you with you? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And Simon was doing.
Yep.
Simon and Avery were doing our whole previews.
Sure. I don't think I ever put that together. I didn't think about that.
Jamie was our cameraman. So he's been a great friend of the show, and obviously one of the guys helping push media forward here in disc golf.
Yep.
So I guess that's a long-winded congratulations, Jamie. Very happy for you, buddy. Now get to work. So,
all right. Well,
I thought you were going to talk about. I thought Stokely officially didn't he get married or was on his way to the?
No, he was on his way to the courthouse. I don't think to get married.
Really, this time? Are you sure?
Correct. I mean, that guy goes to the courthouse more often.
He does.
No, but in serious, I think they are getting ready to get married. I don't know for sure if they've officially made it official, but I do know that they went to the courthouse for his legal issues, and that it was pushed back to sometime in October or November.
Okay. So to clarify, he was at Kristen's cousin's wedding.
Correct.
He was there.
Okay.
I thought I must have misread a post earlier from him, thinking that they were in fact getting married. But
no, I think they are working on it. They might have some things they need to get figured out and worked out. So
okay.
We'll live broadcast their wedding.
Yeah, I mean, our priorities. We're going into the off season. It's wedding season.
That's true. Yeah, we go from disc golf season to wedding season,
and we do it so seamlessly. I mean, really, I wouldn't expect anything different. So anyway, some exciting things taking place over the weekend. Let's talk a little bit about some results. We don't have Dana joining us tonight. I think Dana needed a little break from us.
What?
I think. I don't blame him.
No, I don't blame him either.
But I was under the impression Dana just needed to stand down, maybe do some fatherly duties tonight. But obviously, the talk of the weekend was, in fact, the final national tour.
Yep, the Hall of Fame Classic.
The 7th national tour event, 7th and final. And what was really interesting, and I'm going to go off the cuff here, I believe a participant had to be at this 7th event and get the points in order for it to, let me correct myself. This event counted against your point total regardless. So I think you could drop one or two of them, your worst
score. But no matter
or
what you did, this one counted.
But no matter what, your point total.
I don't like that.
Yeah, because what if you had a wedding really had to be at, or your grandmother passed away, and you're leading the national, or you're second or third in the national tour? I mean, priorities are priorities.
Correct.
But
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I mean, if you're going to set a precedent where 8 out of 10 or 6 out of 7 or whatever it may be, then do 6 out of 7. Don't just make one mandatory. It doesn't make sense.
And I could be dead wrong. I think
you could be. There's a good chance of it.
There's a good chance that I don't do a lot of research, but I think I've heard something along those lines. I'm sure one of our smashies out on the board can clarify.
We'll contact All Things Disc Golf. He'll clear it up.
Yeah, he always does all the real work for us. But I believe that you had to be there, and I think the most logical reasoning I could see for that is maybe if you were in third place, you jumped into first place. Well, you were in third place. don't know if you could lose. You can't lose your spot, so you could jump it. No, if you weren't there, you're not jumping into first. I don't know what the logic is.
Yeah, say maybe if you're in first place that you can't just sit the last one out and keep those points if you had it locked up. I don't understand.
Yeah,
there's
Chuck,
a big formula.
We know Chuck Kennedy's out on the board. Chuck, you're everywhere.
Chuck.
Chuck Kennedy, Chuck Kennedy, Chuck Kennedy. All you got to do is say it 3 times.
Like Beetlejuice?
Yes, just like Beetlejuice.
I was looking for a Chuck Kennedy, my button that shows the Chuck light. Okay. And so, it's just a bunch of numbers in the sky that he'll come in.
Hopefully he can chime in. We're guessing he's out there. And he can let us know that what the exact details were. But I believe you had to be present I believe the last one counted no matter what. Anyway, Paul McBeth still won the national tour despite Michael Johansson
getting his butt kicked by Michael Johansson.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Johansson handed it to him.
Pretty much. What he didn't hand him is a razor. That's what he did not hand him. There was even conversation. How would you like to win the national tour, be the 4-time world champ, but yet you're getting criticized for your shaving habits?
I haven't seen any pictures. So was it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of left mine on tonight just to show him how it can grow in a little more evenly.
Oh, is he patchy? Or round, Patcher Town?
Round? No.
Yeah. Yours doesn't grow in square, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that was one of the conversation pieces. But Michael Joe was down 1 stroke going into the final round. I don't even need to look at the stats for this. Yeah, no, he was down 1 stroke going into the final round.
He was.
Caught up to McBeth. And then they went to a 4-hole playoff. I believe they birdied the first 3 holes in the sudden death playoff, or sudden life, if you're one of those optimistic people. And then ended up getting him on the 4th hole of the playoff. So very exciting. Congratulations to Michael Johansson. I believe that is, in fact, his first national tour win. I didn't go back and do any research, but I'm pretty sure. I was saying that the other day when it was happening.
Sure.
So I said it on the internet.
And no one corrected you?
No one corrected me.
Then it's got to be true.
Okay.
Because normally everybody will correct you if you're wrong.
Yes, as soon as you're wrong, they are all over you. So, and what was really cool is that we saw Johnny McRae. Was it Johnny McRae and Will Schustrick? If you could go back real quick.
Yeah.
No, McRae, Oram, it was McRae and Oram were in the clubhouse.
Yep.
And they were sitting at the score that they were at 32 under par. McRae had shot this insane round. I believe it was a 13 under par.
Oh, wow. 56. Yeah, he crushed.
Yeah, he crushed everyone
in a
else.
1060 rated round.
Which seems a little low for how much he crushed everyone. But McRae was in the clubhouse. He was sitting on his 32 under par. Matt Oram was in the clubhouse with 32 under par. And Michael Joe and McBeth were also at 32 under par as they stepped up to hole 18. That is a par 5. And we saw Michael Joe as well as McBeth birdie it and then obviously pull ahead. So to move themselves in. What an interesting feeling, because we don't see that a lot in golf, in disc golf. We see it in golf all the time. Somebody off the second group or maybe even the third group
waiting in the clubhouse
is sitting there in the clubhouse. They're watching. They're anticipating.
They could have been watching had we been there.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, they're sitting there waiting and watching. And A, we have a lot of shotgun starts. And B, we don't see a lot of the times enough of a push off of that second card. I know David Felberg at the USDGC a year or two ago, he was right there kind of in the balance waiting because he had one of the better rounds. We've kind of seen that at not really though. I mean, more often than not, you see the leader coming off the first card or somebody shooting hot on the second card and everyone's kind of wrapping up and that's what happens. But for McRae and Oram, to just be sitting there and just waiting and waiting and waiting. It's interesting. We don't see that very often.
Not a lot.
So congratulations, Michael Joe. We did reach out to Michael Joe. Again, he had something else going on tonight where he couldn't join us.
Shaving. There's some talk on the board about maybe McPrickley, or maybe it was a best beard competition in the playoff, and so that's why Michael Joe won.
I mean,
best ponytail, Michael Joe wins, hands down.
And some people the tournament hadn't even started, and people are like, really, McBeth? This is what you're going with? This is what you're doing?
Someone said he's not shaving till USDGC.
I had heard that as well, and I didn't know if there was truth to that, but I had heard that. So it's just funny. He shows up and that's the talk.
Is there, I mean, it's hard not to say McBeth, but is there anybody better at long wooded golf than Michael Joe? I mean, that guy just, look at some of the World's courses a couple of years ago that he slayed. That he can do things with a Comet that shouldn't be done with a disc practically. I mean, he's so he's got such a great touch game
Yeah.
in general. I mean, he seems like he can hit any line at any distance almost, and he can get his disc to do that.
Tobin has chimed in saying that Rico had a second card charge to Avery at the Masters Cup, then won on the first playoff hole. That was a number of years ago. But, yeah, for the most part, like I said, we don't see that too often. Michael Joe, if there's a course and a style that's set up for him, I mean, he's obviously a solid player and he can compete with anyone, but you put him in a wooded course and you're right, he's going to be really, really tough to challenge. And we saw McRae, Schustrick, Oram, all, hanging in there. There was a lot of conversation that took place earlier in the weekend, I should say, about the courses, and they had played the Steady Ed course, and I know UC had asked, are these courses too easy?
Because
are they suited for these players?
Well,
is one of the questions.
UC just the way he phrased it came off a little, I think, bothered some people.
Oh,
on Facebook, from what I saw, it was something along the lines of like, I can't. These aren't exact words, but I can't believe these players are shooting these scores on an NT.
Sure.
And asked if the course was too easy. Mm-hmm. And that's when the first person to chime in was Don Smith, saying, no, the courses aren't too easy.
These guys are just that good.
These guys are like just that good. And I don't know.
If we just changed every hole to being a par 2, I think we'd fix all these scoring issues.
Yeah, it says here, PDGA National Tour Final. Best pros playing AM course with a question mark. Par gives 917 rated round. 20-plus eagles made by the top card. That's all he said. He didn't...
Yeah. He was asking... He was definitely asking some questions.
He was asking a question. It just kind of came off a little bit like...
Second-guessing
the course. And when you... Did they only play 2 at the IDGC, or did they play all 3? I thought I heard
that was another
2.
criticism in general, was as to how many courses they were or weren't playing. They ended up playing 2 out of the 3.
Okay.
And that was another really good debate, and a lot of people will talk about it, is when these players go to some of our biggest events, do we want to see them play 4 different courses over 4 days? Do we want to see them play 1 course over 4 days? In fact, I think UC posed that question later in the weekend and said, "What's the advantage? Excuse me. What's the what's the advantage of having more courses?" And the number one advantage is the number of players.
I don't even think that's necessarily the best advantage.
Challenging or coming up with different variety.
If you were to have worlds at 1 course, it may favor, say it's a long open course, not that it doesn't favor someone like Schustrick and those guys, but everyone's looking at, hey, look at this really favors Simon or an Avery or someone that can just crush a disc. They can all throw far.
Yeah.
But having it at a super tight wooded course, people would say, oh, that favors a Brinster or a Michael Joe. I like the variety. I like having, even if it was a pitch and putt course, which I don't think it was.
No.
Even if it was a pitch and putt, throwing a course like that amongst a group of courses, I would have to say you'd have to at least have 3 courses in order to have a pitch and putt kind of course.
Sure.
It just emphasizes all aspects of your game, is what it does. So I don't mind the variety of courses as long as there's a course, at least one, I'll put it in quotes, NT caliber course. As long as there's something out there that challenges them, I don't mind the pitch and putt or the deuce or die, so to speak, course.
Well, and certainly immediate comparisons come about when you talk about the National Tour, because the National Tour opens every year at the Memorial. And there could be some questioning as to, well, let's take a look at the Memorial courses. Relatively open, especially when you look at Fountain Hills. There's clearly plenty of OB and water and challenge on the Fountain Hills course, but when you're as good as our players are, they're not worried about most of that water. A 950 rated player, a 900 rated player, that water comes into play far more than your 1,010 rated players. So, that, and then Vista del Camino, again, talks about not having a lot of trees, not so much on the elevation. There is some distance that is out there, and then they played, the New Year this year playing the Fiesta Lakes.
Yeah,
and what that course offered. So
one of the arguments is, it's got to be tough for these pros to drive across country to learn a couple different courses. Now, most NTs you play 2 courses. Some of them you play 3, but most of them you play at least 2 courses. Correct?
I'd have to think about that, but sure, that sounds about right.
We'll say on average 2 courses.
We'd have to go through it.
And so that's not that hard to learn. And most of these players, for these NTs, they've played these courses before.
Sure.
Now, when you get to a world situation where it might be in a newer area, if they're serious, they're going there at least a week early to learn the courses, to learn the 3 to 4 courses that they play. I don't believe they've played more than 4 in forever.
At a Worlds?
At a Worlds. I don't...
Not Open. Another division.
Yeah, other divisions might. But yeah, Open division doesn't play more than 4. So to learn 4 courses in a week isn't asking too much. And if you're really serious, you're probably getting there 2 weeks ahead of time.
Well, but I think that's part of the criticism, though. You have to get there that much earlier. And
don't care.
As you and I can experience, there's a difference between you and I getting there 4 or 5 days early and say, oh, we got a round in at the course. We saw the course. And then what our good players do when they say, oh, we got 2 or 3 rounds in at that course in 2 or 3 different weather conditions.
Yeah.
Like their prep time versus our prep time, clearly worlds apart.
2 weeks early then.
Sure.
Skip the B tier, the A tier that you were going to go to the week before. I know it's hard. I know it's tough. But if you're that serious about winning that particular event, you will make the sacrifice. And if you're not and you think you can get by on a week's practice, then by all means do it. But then don't complain that I had to learn 4 courses. It's like you had a year technically to learn them. That's your because Worlds is usually announced a year ahead of time. Most of the courses are probably in the ground or somewhat. You can get to the park and play if you really wanted to, but don't complain to me that you only had a week when you could have probably had 2 to 3 minimum to play that course. You just have to make the sacrifice, and it's tough. It is because these guys have to grind it out, and I understand the problems with that, but.
Wow, you're just calling out all the pros here.
Yeah, all of them. Every pro I've just called out.
Sounds that way. Hey, speaking of non-professional work here, why is our screen so incredibly dark?
I don't know. The light's right there. Seems.
But the light's not on our screen.
Why do you keep hitting your microphone repeatedly?
I don't know.
That's why I'm going to get you one of these.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, it
does look a little darker. I don't know if the light maybe moved. Maybe someone bumped it. So it's not shining right on us.
Anyway,
but it's really clear. It's just a little dark. So that's all right. We'll get it figured out. Episode 57.
All right, just looking here. I was actually taking a look at the screen here. It seems a little bit darker than normal. So, Michael Joe winner, Paige Pierce on the women's side. She said it in a post, and I think it was prior to the win, so to speak. Anyway, she's really concerned about being player of the year. I'm pretty sure she had that wrapped up even before winning this national tour event. I'm going to say that she was, but she did win the event. She did wrap up the national tour.
Congratulations.
And she for sure is wrapping up the player of the year. There's I don't think there's any doubt about it. I'm sure all the statistics, all that other stuff. Again, Chuck, wherever you are, I'm sure you can tell us that it's she's the clear-cut winner. I believe she was down 5 strokes, I want to say, to Sarah Holcomb, who was leading. And again, I'm just going off of memory. I believe she was down 5 strokes to Holcomb, and Holcomb finished in 4th or 5th, and she ended up finishing 6 strokes ahead of her that round. So she made quite the swing. Do you still have the stats up? Let's take a look. I could sound mildly educated here. So again, she had made up 6 strokes to beat Holcomb by 5. I believe Holcomb was in fact leading.
It looks like she was leading by a stroke or so. And
honorable mentions, of course, in Valerie Jenkins, who finished in 2nd, 2 strokes behind Paige, and then 3 strokes behind Valerie were Katrina Allen and Sarah Holcomb. So not a bad payday, $1,300 for first place for Paige Pierce with a field of 13 women.
We'll be waiting for our cut.
Yes, we will. I don't know.
I don't know why, but
we saw our PDGA IT director, Steve Gans, hanging out in the A pool, playing with the professionals. I'm not sure.
Do you really call that playing with the professionals?
He played with them. He played with Dave Feldberg first round.
First round.
I'm just saying.
Steve took DFL. We love Steve. Clearly, his IT work is getting in the way of his golf because he's a Masters age player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly certain.
You
I know.
better hope
go
so
go on
now.
a limb on that one. So for him to play that, I think he obviously being there, he wanted to play with the guys, and he shot some golf.
Yes, and one of the things that we're going to I'm going to quickly segue into before we get to our next guest, is the PDGA Summit taking place this week. And it's funny because it was kind of out of sight and out of mind a little bit.
Yeah, after McCoy, I didn't think about it hardly at all.
Yeah, and then and that's what made me think of it. Steve Gans, I know, was there. I know there were obviously our
Do you think
board.
they're all sitting watching us?
No.
Do you think
Maybe.
they should be?
Yes. No.
This is where the action happens.
Yeah, right here on Smashbox every Tuesday night, ladies and gentlemen. But Steve Gans, I saw him sitting in at the summit. Obviously, Brian Graham, all of our other PDGA board members. There's really 2 times a year our board members convene and see each other face to face. I know, as McCoy said, they have monthly teleconferences, but to get together a couple times a year, I think there's obviously something that can always be gained by face-to-face interaction. So that's taking place at the International Disc Golf Center. I kind of wish I was down there watching it or taking it all in.
Yeah, taking it in.
Because they talk about really good stuff, a lot of decisions and initiatives and projects and things that are talked about throughout the year. This is a place.
Are you going to go over? Are you going to read the minutes?
Yeah, word by word. We'll make a whole podcast out of it.
Just sitting reading the minutes.
Just me reading the minutes, and then
that could be our second podcast show. We have Smashbox, and we could have Terry reads the minutes
after every teleconference
every teleconference.
That's not a bad idea. I could work on multiple voices and personalities then at that point. So that is going on this week. We wish everyone the best of luck down there. I think I've got some other good stuff, but when we want the really good stuff, we go out to Zoe AnDyke, and I think we're going to dial her up here in just a few moments, see if we can catch up with her, as it's been a while. It's been, I feel like, too long.
It's the second time you said it's been a while. Because,
okay.
Do you know why I thought of that?
Well, no.
Because it reminds me of the bad Nickelback song.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Because this morning on the news, there was an app that when you tried to dial your ex's phone number, instead it would play a Nickelback song. I had to stay here for I got a quote on some hardwood floor stuff upstairs, and so I was watching morning TV, whatever broadcast, Good Morning.
Hoda and Kathy Lee or whatever?
No, it was their local ones.
Okay.
So, and they showed this app, and it just reminded me of Nickelback, and that reminded me of the song. And
so does everybody picking on Nickelback actually just really help them out?
Probably. I bet you they. I
mean, good, press, good, bad press is good press. Any press
is good press.
I mean,
as much as everyone rips on them, and as much as they really are not that great of a band,
says
me. I just think all their stuff sounds alike. You've heard one song, you've heard them all.
I can say that about a lot of artists, but anyway,
I'm sure you could. But you know who you can't say that about? Zoe.
Welcome to the show, our favorite Dear Disc Golf, I Love You author and commentator, Zoe AnDyke. How are we doing tonight?
Oh, great. Hi. How's it going?
Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
It has been a long time.
Yes.
I know. I missed you guys.
We miss you. The last time we saw you was in person.
Yeah,
at Madison.
Yes, and
that was really cool.
That was great.
Johnny V got to walk around in my round a little bit.
I did. I got to catch a hole or two of your round and kind of got to see you guys throw, and we chatted and smiled and hugged. And did you guys ever get to Wisconsin Dells? I never got a chance to ask.
No, we didn't quite make it. It's always so busy out there.
It is.
Was the last time you were on the show when you were physically in the show?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, I think so. In the Smashbox.
Yeah, that would have been back in July.
Couple days before Worlds.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're
really
here.
Nice to be back.
It is.
You guys have been doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Lots of great feedback. I'm enjoying checking things out and getting all the extras, and Terry's reading all the notes, which is good.
The minutes, yep.
Yep. I'm really glad to hear them all.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you think of the other segment we had here tonight with Adam and Amber? What did you think of that?
Well,
it's
Did you
like
see it?
totally appropriate and perfect timing. I feel like there's a lot of weddings happening right now, and that just happened. And right now, disc golf is so popular. Getting discs and minis made, throwing them instead of like throwing the bouquet. Like this is catching on like nationwide. And the fact that you actually got the chance to get them on tonight, I thought that was really special. You know, it's kind of also leading into end of season and into like fall and winter of how amazing our podcasts are going to be with just kind of other things to do with disc golf. So I thought that was awesome.
Well, good.
Cool.
Well, thank you. I thought it was something a little bit unique. I kind of randomly came across it last night on a link. I think at the time it only had like 90 some views. Now it has nearly 800, so it's doing well for itself. And it's spreading around, and I thought it was cool. And we had really briefly caught up with them just before to kind of test the Skype signal, and they said that they don't frequently watch a lot of disc golf videos or watch Smashbox.
It didn't sound like they knew about us at all.
Yeah,
like they knew disc
which
golf
is awesome.
guy, which
No,
it's great. That means it's new people. I think it's fantastic. It always kind of surprises me. Like, you what? Like you don't know about us?
No.
Like on one hand, I think
some don't, Johnny.
I know it kind of. It's like as vocal as we are out there between Smashbox doing broadcasts and then the podcasts, we tend to push. It just always kind of surprises me, and then it surprises me more when somebody comes up and says, "I'm a huge fan. I watch all the time." And I think like, "You do?
You really?"
So all of it surprises me.
Yeah.
I'm just ecstatic about it.
Yeah, very cool. So it was awesome to have them.
Very cool stuff.
You don't have any nuptials or engagements we need to know about, do you?
Well, let's see. Actually, just here locally, we've had a few people in Oregon. I missed their weddings while I was out at Worlds and Ledgestone. I especially want to say, like, congratulations to Bobby and Kendall Stevens.
Okay.
They're part of the Disc Golf or Die crew, and you know, he's huge and highly functioning in the men of Disc Golf or Die, and she's part of Women or DGOD, and they're two of my biggest sponsors.
Cool.
You know, they do a lot for me. So the fact that they got married, I missed their wedding during Ledgestone. I'm super stoked about all of it, and to do the after party. And I think that I talked him into doing something at the coast with me after I get back from the end of my season. So at least we get to do that party.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, someone like yourself, you're a perfect example of, I'm sure you get plenty of wedding invites. You've got a lot of friends, but yet you're on tour, and it's not that easy to be like, oh, I'm just out here at Maple Hill for a week or 2 weeks, and you've gone on a wedding on Saturday right in the middle of this 4-day national tour event. And I know you always got to pick and choose, and I know it's really challenging. I mean, we miss family functions. I miss a lot of really serious and important things.
Yeah.
But
I'm really excited when people tell me they're not going to have a summer wedding.
Yeah.
The whole summer wedding thing kind of breaks my heart. You know, there's definitely times when I'm like, all right, this event can definitely be on hold, but
sure.
You know, it's been a little while, and actually, if I don't know about the wedding and I've already put in for my entry fee and paid for my trip, it's kind of like, guys, you know, I already did that, and this is what I'm doing, and they always understand, and that's cool. But I'll tell you, I think fall and destination weddings, or even winter and destination weddings, are really cool. Big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, Nate and Val, they did it up right. I think I talked about it on one of my first Smash Boxes, just how fun their wedding was, and they were at the end of October a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. You know, like end of season, and then everybody gets to Bend, Oregon, and we just partied down and had a great time. And it's like, I'm a huge promoter of that off summer season wedding.
If these silly weddings would just plan themselves around our disc golf needs a little better.
That's what I did.
Me too.
June 23rd, I scheduled on, for us, it was the Wisconsin State Overalls weekend that none of us really attended, but it was between big events. So knowing full well that I didn't know if my best man would show up if there was an event
Awkward.
that day. Or he might show up late. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Well, sorry.
Kind of hope that
that's all I did. Yep.
Yeah. Well, tis the season, and I know Dynamite, speaking of our beloved Dynamite, who's normally here, he also there's a few weddings this year that he was going to instead of going to a couple of different tournaments. So, I mean, it's all part of us growing up and getting older and having non-disc golf friends. I think that's why you need to weed those out.
Yeah, I know.
Non-disc golf friends.
And maybe someday Zoe might find this out, but when you have kids, you start being friends with like their friends' kids' parents. And I was just telling some of the parents literally yesterday at the kids' first Boy Scout meeting, I said, I didn't want to have you and you guys as friends. I have enough friends. And they all play disc golf, I told them. And I didn't need to have any more, but then it just happens. Just happens.
And I get excited about everyone having kids so I can teach them.
Yes.
Keep doing it. I'm ready to coach.
Swing. Keep Zoe says keep populating. She will teach the future.
Is that your pro tip of the night officially? Or?
Procreate.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, there's that.
Anyway.
I also wanted to say quickly, congratulations to my girl Paige, of course, for winning not only Hall of Fame but the whole series. Paige put it down this year so hard, and it was an emotional and an amazing and a really kind of come together year for FPO, and hands down to Paige. All the girls are stoked and ready to party whenever we can have you in the right zip codes. Hats off.
Yes.
Sarah Hokum came back super hard this year. That has to be brought up, from the beginning to the end of the season, and then with everything, the emotional and crazy traumatic time at Worlds. Sarah came back so hard this year, and I believe Kat also had a really solid year. I saw a post about her talking about her putt and wanting to work on her putt, and I'm going to get to some end of the season specs in just a minute, but as kind of a hats off to Kat, your putt definitely changed a lot this year, and maybe those are the kinds of things that we all center our year and maybe what we're going to do differently in our year, and then we want to reflect on that skill. And I think that that's good because it gives you something to completely better on, obsess on, practice and train on with the rest of your game. And also Kat performed incredible this year at a lot of events, so I think that there's a lot to be said for what she did and the fact that she's going to be working on her putt just like we saw Sarah do in the previous year.
Yeah.
I think these ladies posting about what they're going to work on is incredible too. I don't see the men totally posting on like the one thing they want to break down and like let the world know about all the time. And there's not a whole lot of ladies on tour, obviously. So the fact that they're sharing, I think, is pretty incredible, and checking out their stats, their places, their seasons, and then what they're working on is important.
Can I interject real quickly right there with one of the most amazing, you didn't even know you were setting up for this, but now's the time. One of the exciting things I was going to announce tonight is that our good friend of the show and professional photographer, Jenny Cook, has created, as of today, she has created a women's only feedback group on Facebook. And what she is highly encouraging and suggesting, and of course it's not mandated in any way, but encouraging and suggesting is that women go out, they get some recorded material of them throwing, whether it's their drive, their upshots, their putts, whatever, record themselves or have someone else record them, and then upload it to this group, put these videos in this group, and then other women will commentate on it and will hopefully try and help them. And Jenny, for instance, has been, as she's been in the field working on mechanics and doing so many things now for a couple of years. She works with a couple other people, male and female, and she has this eye for breaking down what she herself is not doing correctly, where she can improve, and to kind of get away from the, because we know sometimes men see one woman throw and they're like, oh, you know what you should do, and they just want to start interjecting whether they want the advice or not.
And without even going that direction, honestly, anytime you're filming yourself, and this is what I do with my private lessons and my kind of semi-private group lessons, it's part of, the fee. I set up a Dropbox and I film everyone from the beginning to the end, and we talk about what we learned, and then they have that to save. Watching yourself and then being able to self-coach and feel your own body after you've seen the proof. It's the best training in the world. So this could be one of the better sites, and I hope we can share and just make sure that these ladies, are interested in this site, because this is exactly what we should be doing.
Yeah.
I can't believe how perfectly that worked out.
Again, I know you didn't even know it, and it was in my notes to talk about it later, but since here you are now talking about video and feedback and breaking down form, just today she was asking for a little bit of feedback on creating the group and she's going to put the settings for it. And then I told her I'd go a step further. Hopefully, since I'm at least a semi-credible videographer, that if somebody wants me to take a minute or two at a tournament, all they got to do is just tap me and say, hey, can you film me for a few minutes? I want to upload it to the group. I will help them. I'll take the footage. I'll either submit it to Jenny or upload it to the group or whatever. She has just notified us, and she put it on the board. It's going to be launching tomorrow. So thank you, Jenny. And again,
thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
And
yeah, awesome.
If we can continue to develop and take it a step further and get a couple of FPOs or touring pros that like to teach and give advice specs, I think we can take this many different directions. Disc Golf Academy nationwide,
There you go. Well, so that is all thanks to Jenny Cook.
And I know maybe this is just the slight capitalist in me, but I always thought there was a market for breaking down someone's throw. If someone were to say, hey Dion. We'll just throw that pro out there because he's out there a lot.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, Deion Sanders.
Right?
No,
okay. Deion Arlen.
Deion Arlen.
That guy.
Deion Arlen.
Oh, him. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Deion Arlen.
He's like 6 blocks away from me right now.
Yeah. He's really good at breaking down throws.
Yeah.
And so, like someone like him, if you could pay him, like to say, hey, for $20, submit your video. I will do a 20-minute breakdown on what you're doing wrong, where your hit points are, and things like that. I think there's a market for that,
Well,
or you get it free on Jenny's site.
Or you get it free on Jenny's site. But that's the women. But I'm saying there's a lot of guys out there that might want that type of real breakdown. Whereas it tends to be less competition with when the women get together. I'm not on the course, I'm saying, but as far as helping each other.
Yes. Well, they're trying to see
trying to improve each other to help bring in more numbers. The men, it's more competitive. Like, well,
I ain't helping you.
Yeah, I might not help you. I want to beat you.
I don't know.
There's plenty of good teachers.
What Dustin and I are trying to do currently a bunch with just our organ, skills and teachings and clinics and whatnot. He also is trying to do a bunch of video analysis, and the more we can get pros to want to participate in that, the better I think even just professional lessons and the income for the pros are going to be. I mean, this is what we were working on all last year, besides disc golf in schools, regular private lessons and clinics. It's like the private lessons are sky's the limit.
Yeah, if someone could send you video before the private lesson, so when they show up, you can just be like, all right, well, this is what I know right off the top of my head, whatever their issue is, and then get to breaking that part down as opposed to having you spend the first 10 to 15 minutes watching them throw and get that stuff out of the way. I could see that being real helpful.
Well, and when you, I've even taken it far enough this year to, after I've established kind of a rapport with some of my students, and they'll buy a package of like 4 lessons. They'll call me up when I'm on the road and they know that I can't be there to give them a lesson, but they're at a tournament local. They'll tell me about something or text me about something, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that same hitch I remember. And we can, it's easy enough for someone like me or Dustin or a pro to, especially if you've worked with someone, once you even hear what's going on, you can break down, oh, remember how I was telling you to reach back straight and not curl? Or remember how I was telling you not to stand up when you followed through? Or whatever it is.
Sure.
You can even visualize it and grow your lessons via email and text message. There's a lot of things after taking video and really meeting someone interpersonally that I think that the pros should be doing. It's like the next generation of actually teaching and being a course pro. Or
I want to have Zoe on retainer. Just have
Yeah.
So
just-
these are the things
Like,
I'm doing.
that-
and I'm so,
that
this
makes-
is why I'm so glad I'm hooked up with you guys.
it's great. I mean, just
this
obviously to
idea.
help expand you, but other aspects of it, to have someone like you or Dustin Keegan on retainer, where whether it's $100 a year, whatever the money is, or discs, or $5,000 a year, whatever it may be, that I can just call or contact someone at any time and say, oh, I'm really having an issue with a putt, I can't seem to XYZ. I think something like that would be cool.
Let me tell you about this.
Okay.
So right now I have a course here in Oregon. It's Buxton Woods. I brought it up before. It's a pay to play. I recently became their course pro, their female course pro, and for the Oregon Chick Flick, not only for my donation did I donate a disc, but I donated a 1-year membership to Buxton, and that's where I'm going to conduct all my lessons. And anytime any of the regular daily pay-to-play people come to Buxton and they ask about lessons, they can be like, oh, by the way, like Zoe will be here such and such date, or you can contact her. So I would recommend to a lot of local pros as well, get with a course. And I think a pay-to-play is a good way to, we're promoting so many positive things anyways in disc golf. Let's get courses to grow, no matter which one you pick. Pick your 1 or 2 courses that you're going to do your lessons at, and really be your course pro. That's going to grow your local scene. That's going to grow your leagues. That's going to grow your course and the possibility of a pay to play if you don't have one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefits to having a pay to play. The idea of somebody taking care of the course, picking up the trash, running the tournaments, taking care of the safety, anything you can think of, pouring the tee pads correctly. Pay to plays are good. I'm not like promoting those all the way, but I'm just saying if you have them in your area, that could be the way to be the course pro, the local pro at your course, and sometimes revenue is generated that way for the pro. Or like right now, Buxton just bought me into Oregon State Championships. Thank goodness, that's one of my last events of my season, and it's because I'm their new course pro. And there's just ways to promote and give to the public and bring to your courses, I guess.
No, you're right, and that's obviously a debate that's raged on, and will continue to rage on, all the benefits and ways that you can look at incorporating your course pro, ways that you can incorporate pay to play. We're going to see that continue forever now that we're finding more and more organizations as well as parks departments that are seeing some of the values in pay to play.
Well, and like saving ball golf courses, it's been popular to do the foot golf, soccer golf. And
there's one right up the road here.
Yeah, shared with ball golf. And all those things we're actually saving courses. So let's get the tri pros there. Let's get the soccer guy, the disc golf gal guy, and the ball golf guy. Or girl.
Or girl.
Our friend Jenny Cook had just recently chimed in asking if you use the app Coach My Video. Is that an app that you use, or when you're working with people, or are you borrowing a fancy camera from someone like Joe, or are you recording someone on the phone and then getting it uploaded?
Those are all really great questions. I've heard of that app. I actually used it with one of my students in Bend because he had it on his phone. I personally use my phone. I have a really nice Motorola Turbo with some of the best. It's like a 22 megapixel or something camera, and
boom,
great HD technology, and I can slow it down. But also Joe has helped me. Yes, I use a complete variety. Dustin has this little Kodak handheld camera that he has even been a part of lessons and used. That one probably has the lowest definition because it's the oldest, but at this point, until Smashbox and I really get going on the really high-tech camera roll, bankroll footage, I'm using a variety of things. And when I have Joe involved, or actually my phone, my personal phone, it's the best definition.
Perfect. Good.
Yeah.
The
name of that app is the Coaches app. I'm trying to remember because that was a while ago that
Coach My Video or
Coach My Video.
One of the things that I'll say, and I saw this on the Dynamic Disc TV show, which I need to see more of when they need to make more of them. Guys, get going. But I saw this.
We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
They had said it's not that hard, and that's one of, and we're not really, I mean, we guess we're kind of regurgitating their idea where they said, if you want tips and you want ways to break down your game or be able to throw better, one of the very first things they did in their video is they said you need to record yourself, and it's this easy. And they actually showed people how to go out and for free how you could record something, and there's not much to it. I mean, we make video recording look easy and good, but no, but really there's not much to it, and it can be your phone or it can be a little $200 camcorder.
Even selfie sticks.
Yep.
There's so many different ways to actually do your own technology right now. So the whole point of it is make sure you watch yourself throw.
It'd be kind of funny to film like your whole round with a selfie stick, and
you can attach them to all these fancy new bags these days.
That's true. What would probably really tick off Joe is if we called it a Joe Pro, because I think he hates GoPros.
Well, he's my Joe Pro.
Oh, but
he is your Joe Pro.
He is, but I know he's not a fan of GoPros specifically, so I think I should just call him Joe Pro from now on. Anyway.
Joe the Pro is not a fan of GoPro.
Yeah, Joe Pro. So anyway, so very exciting stuff going on with that in terms of filming, and then it's great to get filmed. It's a great thing to get it uploaded, but then let's make sure you're reaching out to the right people. We're finding smart disc golfers that know what they're talking about when you're getting and I don't want to say, I would never say something like, well, so and so is rated such and such, so they must know what they're talking about. Not necessarily.
No.
And as we know, not all people who can teach can perform, and not all performers can teach.
Yeah.
Is there saying somewhere in there?
And I think it's really important to, once you've asked somebody about a rule, I wouldn't just, or a scenario, or even how a TD ruled something, I wouldn't just go with exactly what your experience or what your first answer was. My biggest advice to anyone, especially TDs, is cross-reference, talk about it, cross-reference. Some of the things I want to talk about here in just a couple of minutes about, like into the season, let's reflect on the way we behave during a tournament stuff. It really has to do with, sometimes people think that they know a rule and maybe it doesn't even exist, but it seems like it does. Or maybe, and not even in any type of a catty or a pun type of way. The other day someone said, well, a mini marker has to be half the diameter of a disc, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Since we have time, let's look it up. When you look it up, and I wish I had my book right next to me to read the sentence. There is no definition of the size or the diameters of a mini marker. The only thing that is required is that it's circular. People have said before, you can't use another disc. Well, it turns out another disc is circular, so
I don't know,
it
Zoe.
can be argued in a million ways.
Are you sure about this?
Yeah, you got to look it up.
There's restrictions on mini sizes.
No.
Yes.
No, check it out.
Yes,
look
there
it
is.
up right now.
Unless they change the rule, let's look it up.
Oh, Stephen Winslow says there used to be a size dimension, but they've pulled them out. So
really.
Oh, snap! Zoe just in your face.
Okay, I want.
And do you think that's because a lot of people do you think that is because a specific scenario you throw out of bounds? Some people just bring their disc in and put it there.
And you're always supposed to use your mini.
And you're supposed to use your mini, but
Yeah.
But a lot of people just used to bring their plastic, toss this is a meter, step it off and put their disc there. So I wonder if that is, or if that was changed.
What I'm really trying to lead into isn't necessarily minis.
Yeah.
No, now I'm hung up, woman.
And specs of rules that are kind of just taken crazy. I'm gonna go right into something that's been really important, and I'm gonna bring my super awesome, amazing organ pro, Dustin Keegan. He's my co-host tonight of my little spec talk of what we should really be working on for the end of the season. This is Team Organ partner and travel partner, tour partner, Dustin Keegan.
Hi, Dustin.
And, we were talking a bunch because of the last couple weekends about what it really looks like to give a courtesy violation warning, and then what it really looks like to give a penalty stroke. And I think it's pretty important for everyone in the nation, everyone in the world that's listening or going to hear this, to take it serious. For one, on time. Let's talk about 30 seconds and what that means. Oh my God. So it seems like all these cards and these pros are talking about 30 seconds, time violations. These are the slowest golfers in the world. Well, what are we going to do about things like that? We should probably give an honest courtesy violation, as it's bothering us. And then if we have to, we should pull out our cell phones, our clocks. I even actually found this in my little storage unit. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a metronome.
Yep.
You could practice with one of these to figure out what 30 seconds feels like.
Sure.
And I'm not bringing that up as a personal reference or like I had a problem or Dustin did, but maybe we've been on rounds or cards that it's a serious issue.
People are stretching the limits of 30 seconds nowadays, and
all over the nation.
It's kind of a hard, awkward conversation in the moment when you're like, hey, but they're not technically standing at their mini, they're walking up the fairway looking at the lie, but really it's their turn. Let's say, they spend 30 seconds looking at what they're going to throw, and then another 20 to get their disc out of the bag, and then they step up and think they still have 30 seconds. But it's like, that's pushing it, and we want to pick up the pace. Disc golf's slowing down lately, I feel like, and
with events filling and having ghost groups, trying to impress am sides and pro fields and filling events as much as they are, we really all as golfers need to be self-policing. And Dustin and I want to empower our friends and our fans and the people to, oh my God, okay,
say something.
This person is actually doing this, and we are causing a backup. So out of respect for the whole event, I want to give them the notice that they're taking too long. They might not take it the right way, but right now, as a golfer, I know that I'm doing the right thing by upholding the rules of the game, and I'm going to say something. And then if it happens continuously, I'm going to go ahead and write it on the card and give that penalty stroke. We all hope it wouldn't get to that, and we all hope that the way you present that could be professional. Next topic on something like that is, okay, so we talked about the time violation, and then we talked about, what was the next one that was really easy? It's kind of hard to, smoking. This is really easy. It's been brought up a million times. National tours, majors, you name the size of event, it comes down to TD's discretion most of the time, or the state park's ruling on smoking. Our good friend Shasta Chris actually wouldn't mind me bringing up like one of his scenarios, but a courtesy violation can be handed out if somebody is smoking and puffing in your face, whether you're allergic to it or you just don't like the cigarette smoke or the vaping smoke, because vaping smoke is also smoking. Be aware if you're the vapor or the smoker, because I'm not against you doing what you do. I do what I do, you do what you do.
You do you.
Be aware that when you're blowing the smoke, if it's hitting other nostrils or getting in someone else's airspace, man, they can and should warn you. And if you're going to continue to do it, then maybe you can get a penalty stroke for things like that. So again, self-policing and caring about the golfer around you.
It's about saying something.
It's about caring about the rules.
It's always a little awkward to call somebody on a warning because you expect them to, hey, you probably already know the rules. You should be able to be courteous to us without us saying it. But it's not like, I've gotten called on being slow. I've gotten called for a foot fault. I don't take it of offense. I was in wrong. So it helps me pick up the pace. It helps me be a better person on calling somebody because it doesn't affect us.
I've been called for saying the wrong score number when I had penalty strokes. I think a couple times this year, accidentally, I've said like 5 when I got a 6 or 6 when I got a 4, But then what happens there and I want to empower women again because I've heard of this scenario so many times. When you're nervous to call someone out for saying the wrong score, again, don't be nervous. Talk out the discs. Oh, well, off the tee pad you threw, then your upshot you threw, then you threw, and at the end of holing out, you might have had this penalty. You never count a penalty until you've holed out. But those uncomfortable scenarios really don't have to be uncomfortable. We want to make everyone feel empowered for calling the game the way it should be called, not being uncomfortable. If you're putting and someone's walking around in your lie and then you miss the putt, well, probably your fault. And then that 30-second thing, that's when you can actually like stand away from it and look at your card and be like, I'm going to wait. If anyone else wants to hole out, go ahead. There's people in my background. Things like that. Just communicating with your card correctly.
Sometimes it helps. I remember I was watching the footage of Hall of Fame Classic this last weekend, and Macbeth called Felberg on a foot fault during the middle of the round, and Dave was actually happy about it. He was like, hey, I messed up my shot. It was a foot fault. Thanks for calling. Got to throw it again. So just playing by the rules, it really, people don't mind. Foot faults happen. Call them. Let's just pick up pace. That's what we want. That's all we're really talking about, is just pace of play.
And then kind of lastly, to wrap it up and remember to be good self-police members. Tournament directors do so much. We already know this. We've had podcasts about it. Tournament directors have a huge workload and then have to make really terrible and nasty decisions, but they also all have to uphold the rules. And what we need to do as players when rulings are made or when they're having to make those rulings is just be respectful individuals. Consider their circumstances. Put yourself in their shoes, if you will. And we've got to stop yelling at different things or finding things to blame. At the end of the day, we're the one that threw the disc, and we're the one that maybe made the decisions we made or miscalculated our math or played from the wrong tee pad. It's never the TD's fault. He's the one that's got to make the decisions, or she. And we need to remember to take care of the people that are running our events. That's so important. So many TDs this year Dustin and I have stayed with or been hosted by or cared about, and they're just kind of getting beaten down at the end of the day by the complaints and I know a lot of times
harsh feedback.
Yeah, it's harsh feedback, but all it really is somebody's unhappy. And if we can all ask ourselves just to be self-policing in our game, in our respect, in the way we hold ourselves as players, I think everyone is going to benefit better in 2016 and for the end of their season.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and one thing I'll say about the harsh feedback is it's something that we kind of touched on a week or two ago about if you do have some harsh feedback, bring it to the TD first. Don't go to no reason to go to social media, because you're just at that point you're just getting pitchforks and torches. That's all. That's
bring it up in the moment, the minute you think of it.
Yep.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wait 2 days, it's not going to accomplish anything.
Or you'd be surprised. Sometimes when you wait 2 days, you've either heard one or two other perspectives, or something may actually have rolled off a little differently, and you're like, okay, maybe I was overreacting. The whole knee-jerk reaction. So that may be another case too. Is depending on what it was, how much of a judgment call was it? Maybe sometimes even just sleeping on it, you're like, okay, well. Obviously that can be said of any harsh decision in your life. One of the things to supplement or complement what you guys are saying is Brian Graham. It's a red speech, so to speak, that he gives every year at the World Championships, and it always ends with, how do we expect others to take our sport seriously if we don't take ourselves seriously? And he ends it every single year. At the players' meeting, and that's what he says. And then he says, make the call. And that's exactly what I think we need to do. We're not in the position of having officials on every single hole and walking around with every single. And I understand, we're a unique sport in that we are making these calls, and they can get a little touchy, and and when we saw the Stokely Climo foot fault thing kind of blow up earlier, right after Worlds. So we know that those types of things can happen, but you got to it starts with making the call. And I will finish my thought when it comes to, especially when you guys talk about pace of play.
Yeah.
My biggest frustration, because I'm filming these people, and every extra second I got to film you is another second I either got to edit and put on the floor, or I got to leave in. But anyway, I'm filming. I don't see it as often as people being, we'll say, pokey or slow to get going. The really annoying violations that for sure need to get called more often are when you are at your mini, you've marked your lie, and you're ready to go, and you're still taking over 30 seconds.
Yes, most definitely.
That's the most annoying of them all. And there's a few really, really popular habitual people that do it over and over again. I won't put them on blast right now, but we probably have in the past. But throw the disc. You have 30 seconds. Your distractions, all that other stuff is done. You have 30 seconds to throw that disc. Throw the damn disc. All right. If you use 29 and a half, I'm cool. I'm annoyed, but I'm cool. 31, no.
You can't be scared to call them. That's the thing. It's like
it's not a personality.
People take it personal. Yeah, it's like no, it's just it's a game. We're all here trying to throw, and waiting just makes everything worse.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
And we just used a couple of really easy examples that I think people nationwide, worldwide are struggling with. Think of your own golf season right now, and without further discussion, think about a scenario you've either seen or been a part of that bothered you, or you had to bother someone else, or you wish you would have. And then I would just say, in the future, empower yourself to hold the rules of the game, like to the highest standard, and don't be a little ninny, call it, and don't be a jerk. Don't make rules up. Definitely know what you're talking about, because that's not cool to make things up.
Speaking of making things up,
we have to challenge you. The board has spoken. We're going to challenge you.
Wait,
okay.
The minis?
Mini size. Now we might be looking at conflicting reference points, but again, I had never heard the rule changing. I always knew there was a certain size that it cannot exceed, along with a certain height.
Right.
I believe even like a hockey puck specifically did not meet standards. I think I heard that many years ago. But I know there's certain items that definitely do not meet mini standards. One year at the World Championships in 2008, Greg Barsby was using a McDonald's plastic lid as a mini, and somebody challenged the validity of it, and at the time I believe it fit within the size, but our Smashies tell us it's still out there.
That is still out there. No more than 3 centimeters high, and I believe it was 7 to 15 centimeters in diameter. 7 to 15 centimeters in diameter, and height not exceeding 3 centimeters. There's a PDGA tech standard document from 14 May 2014 that outlines mini dimensions and sizes.
Does it have to be circular?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
That I don't know.
Because I guess, was it
Well,
philo?
if there's a diameter, then I'd assume it's circular.
Could it
because
be oblong? Oblong?
Yeah,
Oblong.
diamemer does mean circular.
I think.
Perfectly circular?
We're getting into math now, and that's going to get scary
It's
for
been
everybody.
25 years since we did any real math. Because I thought Philo used it.
They are, yeah.
I thought Philo used a cheeseburger that he took a bite out of once.
That would be too tall. Well, it depends if you.
God, that's not circular.
Did he finish the burger?
I thought I saw that once. I've seen some crazy stuff out there. I've used my phone, which I believe would technically be illegal because my phone isn't.
It's not.
It doesn't exceed the height.
Are you sure?
That might have been in a casual round. We're gonna call it a casual round. I'm pretty sure that was, but yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, unless somebody can tell me otherwise, I never heard that they abolished the specs. And if that was May of 2014, you said?
Yeah, that's when.
I mean, those have been around forever, and I think that was just the most updated document.
That's what this tech spec said. So.
Well, that's good that we brought that up just live while we're talking about it.
As long as it fits inside the cylinder, dimensions outlined in the rules is what someone is saying. So
Yeah, I would say don't be the snarky person that
Sure.
just has to test limits. But also, I'm glad that those were brought up,
Yes,
now we all know that.
They took it out of the rules and moved it to the tech standards document. So maybe that's what people were confused about. So yeah. So for
Why it wasn't in the rule book.
And they changed the font, so
italics.
So you don't have to do it if it's in italics.
It's optional.
Oh, that brings me to some other rules. Remind me later in the show. Go on.
Don't forget.
I've got some really good rule stuff.
Let's talk about it now.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, no, I got to give full credit here to Dana Vitchy. We did have a phone call earlier in the day. Dana had said, "Did you see the new caddy guide for the USDGC?" I said, "No, somehow that alert didn't come across my phone, but apparently it was released yesterday." And gosh, I don't know if I can put them on blast. No, I don't know. Hole 1 at the USDGC, slightly downhill, mandatory 258 feet. I want to get 228.
Mando,
maybe?
as in you can't go right or left. You have to go up the middle now. Or?
Well, you couldn't
because before
a year
you could
or
always
two
take
ago,
the lefty forehand. The forehand, I had to pull the Terry.
I think the
There's
year.
only one Mando.
Yeah, there's only one Mando to the right.
Okay, it's to the right.
So that's still there. They put in a couple rocks a year or two ago. They put in some extra trees. If you go out to usdgc.com right now, you can pull up the caddy guide, which we'll reference, and they are adding hazards.
On hole 1?
On hole 1.
Hazards. USDGC.
That's the best shot.
Somebody screenshot that. Somebody screenshot that.
Somebody take a screenshot of Zoe all zoomed in.
USD. So, and we'll talk about a number of these, but hole 1, I'm just putting it out there. We'll start right on hole 1. Hazards.
Okay.
You know where the hazards are?
Please tell me they're right in front of the basket.
Right next to
Every
it. On
hole.
the right and left.
Yeah, every hole.
No, just there's a couple holes.
Okay.
But to the right and left of the pin. Like, I mean, we can only see so much in the caddy guide, but
almost like we'll say like sand traps around a green.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
What do you, Dustin? You've played in the USDGC, so I'll address you first.
Dustin will be at
I will
USDGC.
be
in
there.
a-
What do you
Zoe,
think
will you
about
be
that?
attending?
That's one of the next topics.
Okay. Dustin, what do you think of that?
Or
do you need to sleep on it and not give us your knee-jerk reaction?
I feel that's a little unnecessary, but
Yeah,
it is what it is, and I'm happy for the challenge. It's already the hardest easy hole I've ever played, strictly because of the adrenaline on hole 1 when you're standing there.
Yeah, there's the pressure, the adrenaline, the
Name calling.
speed. Yeah, the name calling, the speed of the green. I mean, that's no joke. So
they show on the diagram in the caddy guide that off to the right and off to the, it looks like they put ears.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
We'll call it Climos.
It looks like they put a set of ears on the caddy guide to the basket. So straight right and straight left of the pin, they have some oblong-looking shapes where they are defining hazards. And these hazards are, you play them where you lie,
penalty.
but you get the stroke penalty.
So they're just wanting you to work on your straight 250-foot putter shot. Don't do
Yeah, but
anything
as
else.
we know, you're like trying to throw that, and you're trying to already control how much skip you're getting. You're probably already throwing a putter or a mid.
Yeah.
And then even that bailout, well, not bailout, the tree on the left, there where we've seen some playoffs and everything else take place, those trees and bushes on the left, that's all part of the hazard zone, according to the caddy guide.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What,
I'm gonna
mind blow.
I'm gonna have to go
I
over the
bet
caddy
I
guide.
field my layup, I guess.
So now we'll move. There's a handful of ones. We're not going to go through every single hole, but we'll go through the ones that had some changes. Hole 2, there's another hazard zone off to the right-hand side, up against kind of the fence line. So
a roller that
Where
might
all the
cut
rollers
early.
land.
Yep, exactly. So either a roller that may cut over there, or a lefty coming in with a skip that then hyzers out hard and goes up against the fence. Now, it's not the entire fence line, but there's just a pocket at the roughly at the 330 mark, as referenced by the caddy guide. There's a pocket that is hazard.
Sure.
So there's an interesting change. Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear the conversation in the next few weeks happen.
Yeah,
You'll hear
and this was
plenty.
released yesterday.
Yes.
So we should be
download
seeing and hearing some discussion over the next week or two regarding.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure we will. Hole 3 looked the same. 4 was the same. Here's an interesting one on 5. This is huge.
They put the basket in the water. I don't know how it happened.
Ace or die, brah. You must go over the water. There is a mandatory. You cannot
take the big hyzer around the tree by the green.
Hyzer around the tree. And I apologize to any of our fans or listeners who are not USDGC, caught up. Go watch the video blogs.
Here is a great question. Is this only for the pro?
As far as I know, it's
or is
for
this
everybody.
for the performance as well?
I believe.
I'll say this: if this is for performance, I don't like that at all. Because the performance flight, I may not be confident to do that. So now I have to lay up and pitch over a little Anheuser or something along those lines. I can't just play it safe.
No.
Not a fan of that change.
So that's a huge change,
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's I think that's probably the single most significant change in that you cannot go to the right of the tree. You must. There'll be a Mando line, and you have to go out and over the water. They've created a drop zone. And
everybody plays a big hyzer over the tree. Can you still do over the tree?
It is according, again, looking just at the graphic, it looks like it is the closer tree.
Yep.
So to answer you, no. They want you throwing out and over the water.
Yeah, they want you going over that water.
So now people are going to go for the Eagles now, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're going to see a lot of people pitch up to a particular spot and then just pitch over. I mean, for some guys, it's not going to change their shot because they go throw, over, putt.
Yeah.
Or throw, try to go over, putt. But
it's going to be a game changer for sure in terms of how people... I mean, we watched Johnny McRae go around last year, for instance.
It looks like... Go back to the triple Mando one once.
There was a discussion as to if hole 7...
It looks like they put the basket on top of the triple Mando.
No, on hole 7, as indicated, it shows that they may have backed up the tee a few feet, but we don't know if that's for sure or not. It still says 284. I feel like that's roughly what it's always been. If anything, they maybe backed it up by 20 or 15 feet. Or
that would be closer.
I'm not sure, but they have an outline of a tee in front of the tee. And so I don't know if that's to indicate, hey, we move this back a few feet, but if so, it can't be by more than 20 feet.
No.
But still a triple Mando. Hole 16, which parallels hole 8, the OB that is normally on the right-hand side of 16 is now just a hazard. So you would go over to where you went out of bounds and stayed out of bounds. If you move into 8's fairway, you are throwing from there, which I kind of don't like, but you're still penalized. So they're making the approach harder because normally you throw OB on that hole, you bring it to where you are, you pitch up, you're going to take a 4.
There's an open shot. Whereas if you go too far right, you have to fight through all the trees, which I understand making it harder, but it's more or less the same thing. You're still probably taking the 4, whether you take it from where it went, from where it's at.
It's
with
be
the
a harder
penalty.
4.
It's a maybe. I mean, it's almost a 4 either way. Let's just say if you went over there, you were probably taking a 4 either way.
It was a circle's edge putt, so it wasn't too hard of a putt.
Depending on where you went out.
Yeah, so maybe taking a circle 3 versus a 4 you could have. But I just don't like the fact that now you're playing in someone else's fairway. Potentially.
You could be.
Like that just seems like a safety issue over anything, or a flow issue, not so much safety. Everyone there is pretty conscious about what's going on as far as safety reasons, but more of a flow issue with the groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so off to the left is still considered a hazard as well. You throw OB, or if you throw into the hazard on the left-hand side, then you play from where it is. Now, it looks like they're doing a hazard on the right side of 15. I'm sorry, I didn't notice this earlier. The right side of 15 is a hazard as well. So if you were to get outside of the tree line, you'd still have to play from where it is, but with penalty. That may or may not help you, depending on, again, where you
end up,
where you went out. You know, if a lefty throws 400 feet and then it scoots out over the hazard, well, I guess either way they were going to take it about the same spot. But so anyway, really interesting. Those are a few of the major changes that Dana and I discussed. I got to credit Dana for pointing out the caddy guide in general being released yesterday. But man, hole 5, the mandatory, I think is huge.
That's big. And hole 1, hole
and
1
hole
and 5.
1 and hole 1 with the hazards, the ears on both sides of the basket. Just crazy. I don't like that. I do not like that on hole 1.
They don't like seeing 15 down. They don't want double digits. And
but here's
taking their steps.
Here's I mean, other than I'll say this, hole 1 that could come into effect. If someone's shooting like a 14 or 15 down, they're not going OB anyway. That usually isn't changing those particular scores. Like I said, hole 1, yes, if you go to the right, let's say you're 20 feet to the right of the basket, that could be in the hazard. I don't know exactly without seeing in person. That could add up a penalty stroke, but almost everyone else, if you're shooting those hot scores, are not going OB. You're not going around the tree. You're going over the water anyway. I think you're penalizing you're over penalizing the poorer players is what you're doing. You're not really taking a lot of strokes from the better players in general. I mean, I'm sure there'll be exceptions to the rule.
I feel like they're over penalizing your bad shots. So don't throw bad shots and you won't. Won't be bad.
Dustin Keegan's professional advice.
You better be perfect.
Don't throw bad shots.
Dustin's pro tip of the night: don't throw bad shots. And also on 17, it is worth noting, it says in the rules that if you throw after 5 total OB throws, player may take a lie at the drop spot on the green. So let's just say
off to the right.
So in theory, I'd have to think
20s.
So I was just going to say, in theory, I'd have to do the math, but you should never get, unless you
more than
really
a 13.
Like a 13 or something like that. You've thrown 5 times.
That's
10, 11, 12. You should never really take more than a 12 there.
Yeah,
in theory.
Because
the drop spot, which is a new word, the drop spot looks like it'll be less than 30 feet to the basket. So.
Really, they're calling it a drop spot?
Drop spot.
That's kind of odd. Why not
drop it like a spot? Drop it like a spot.
Don't ever do that.
Like a spot. Drop it like a spot.
Okay, sorry. So, very interesting. So, again, thank you.
They're always changing everything every year.
Every year. This is the one event where the caddy guide is probably the most important thing to carry with you during your round. This event, because you never know. Things might not be the same as they were last year.
Nate Heinold sitting on pins and needles, just like, let's see what
can I do next year to Ledgestone?
Or he's sitting here saying, what are they going to say about USDGC's rules?
Yeah, Nate's
right, Nate? Right, Nate?
That's right.
We know Nate, and Nate has said that in the past too. When we talked about course design and his approach to what he was doing out there, he's like, they have yellow rope at the USDGC, they have this, they have that, and so always. He was making these comparisons to what we're doing at one of the largest events or the, premier event of the year. And we've all talked about that. That can be good and bad because just because it's executed where the best of the best play doesn't mean it should be at every other event that you go to. And I've even thought about, in interviewing Nate and interviewing other players, people will talk about yellow rope. They're like, the yellow rope, the blah, blah, blah. That means nothing. If you have no relevance to USDGC, yellow rope couldn't be any less relative to you. It's not used in golf.
No, but
you're outside the yellow rope. That means nothing.
Correct, but if someone's listening to an interview of yours, odds are they probably know what it is already.
No. Not necessarily.
I think
you say hyzer,
so.
You say OB, you say pars, bogeys, you say all these things, but when people reference yellow rope,
hyzer, nobody knows what hyzer is unless you know golf.
I'm saying
disc golf.
You don't even unless you're really into the USDGC though. You
no,
don't know what yellow rope is.
No, I disagree. I think
you're wrong.
I think at this point, most disc golfers know yellow rope. If you've played a tournament in the last year and a half, I think you in general know yellow rope means out of bounds.
You think Adam and Amber knew what yellow rope was?
I bet you they know it means out of bounds.
No,
I've only ever seen one hazard ropes.
Well, now the question is, if you're talking hazard versus just out of bounds. Like rope signifies out of bounds. Now the ruling on how you play it, that's a totally different. If it's yellow rope, red rope, green rope, blue rope, rope means OB, and I think 90% of golfers know that.
Jason Hawes said I didn't know.
Jason Hawes said he didn't know that rope means OB, some sort of penalty, some sort of OB.
No, he knows.
People
It's a good
refer
thing
to it
not
as
now.
yellow rope all the time
Sure.
when you're really into disc golf.
I understand that.
And I'm just saying, I think it means nothing to the general public.
No, it does. Not the general public. I think the general disc
I mean,
golfers.
the
it does.
average Joe golfers. It doesn't mean anything to them.
I think by now it does.
No. Adam, Amber, chime in.
Harbeck,
Let us know.
Harbeck says Terry is wrong. Sorry, rope is out of bounds. Period.
Okay.
He added the period, which means done.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Basically, again, we just have to
Trust our
listen to
smashies.
what you say and what the caddy
yep.
book says.
No, that's fine. Just block Harbeck's IP address so he can't watch us. I don't want to hear from him again.
So,
okay, man.
yep. So what else is going on, Zoe? What do you have? What's coming up in the next couple weeks for you?
That we should know about.
Okay. Well, I need to let everyone know that up until last Friday, I thought that I was going to come out to USDGC and plan the performance flight, but that's not going to happen. That's okay.
Any particular reason why that's not happening?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Sure.
I feel like
You hate it? Do you hate it when Dana refers to you as a perf? That's his term, not mine.
Like for the performance?
Yes, for the performance edition, he calls them perfs.
You should call them perps. Like the perp, like it's a Law and Order.
They're performance edition.
I know.
no,
Anyway, sorry.
I love it. Dana's
Okay.
amazing. I love his style.
Okay.
I was excited to get that bid from the state of Oregon and thank Jeff Haggerty and everything for it. But at the end of the day, I worked as hard as I could and did the best I could through my season, both on and off the course, from teaching to labor jobs and performing, to the best of my ability, even though maybe not as best as I wanted to, and just didn't make quite enough money to be comfortable to go to USDGC. In previous years, this is my fourth full season touring, and I would say this is my first full year never being broke. And the previous years, I would pay for events, months beforehand, and then do everything I could to get there and have enough money to be there. And it was like a broke season after broke season. And this year has been pretty good for me. And I think I've expanded and made more revenue off of actually teaching and other things in disc golf. And then my touring actually wasn't as successful as it could have, or maybe should have been, whatever, however you want to look at it. Positively, I look at it like I gave my best. And if I went to USDGC, I'd be floating in with maybe less than $100 in my pocket. And I'm not willing to make that decision this year.
Okay.
And I know we've talked a few times on the show about how hard it is for touring pros. We've talked about GoFundMes. We've talked
I was just about to say 3 words. Go fund me.
I was going to say, even Joe and Terry were posting about that earlier today. And I haven't been on Facebook in almost a week, but I got on today for a minute and saw that. So I was like, good thing I saw that, because I actually want everyone to know, after I make the post, and the announcement tonight, this is the first time I've told people I'm not going. I know Madison and Paige are going to be kind of sad or withdrawn at me that I'm not going to be there. I've told everyone I was going to go, but the mature adult decision is to finish up my season at Oregon State Championships this weekend. I was already going to go to Montana and do an unsanctioned tournament in Yellowstone National Park. And then I was going to fly out to USDGC. And now that I've cut that out, the end of my season sanctioned-wise is this next weekend, I think, unless something crazy happens in November or December. But, it's really hard for me to not be caddying for Dustin out there, because I was last year, and then to be out there to teach at Throw Pink and all those things. And I would say there was definitely a full, more than a day, maybe 3 or 5 days or a week of where I would cry here and there, because I'm kind of sensitive. I'm not looking for the pity card. I'm just saying I'm a sensitive person and I have all this heart, and I thought I did everything right this year. And then when it came down to it, and I reboiled down my finances weekly, if not daily. And last Friday, I was trying to get ready to purchase a plane ticket, and it wasn't the right decision. So I decided to use it as determination for next year. And Gosh, it's like
No.
seriously one of the hardest things. I'm fine right now about it. It's like
Sure.
determination versus defeat. And I would say there are more golfers on my side of the fence than there are on maybe Paige's or Paul Macbeth's or somebody like that, where we're trying.
Sure.
We're pouring our soul into it. Some of them are doing some GoFundMe's or some Kickstarters. Some of them have maybe families that can support them or things like that. However you're doing it, you're trying your hardest. And as long at the end of the day, when you can look in the mirror and say that you've tried your hardest and you actually worked hard for it, make a good decision. Again, call yourself a professional at life, if you will. And I can't go to USDGC because I want to ask for bigger things when I'm ready to ask for support, to be able to grow my teaching and grow going worldwide to like spread the sport.
Sure.
I could ask everyone I know on Facebook for $5 and have my trip well paid for. And I support people that want to do those kinds of things if that's what they think is the right decision. But I really, after this year, have decided I'm ready to completely uproot, find a way to get it all done in 2016, pay off any little debts I have, and take the sport worldwide with the teaching, because I have to make an impact and I want to compete and more so make an impact. So that's the long answer of why I'm not going to USDGC. And I want everyone to know it wasn't like I gave up or wasn't because I wasn't good enough to make it. I think I definitely gave it my all. And I think a lot of golfers all year long probably gave it their all in whatever their goals were. And if you feel like you've come up short, sometimes, I'm gonna call out my friend Madison right now that's traveling, Madison Walker, that's traveled with Paige. We've texted and been on the phone about defeat on the course a couple times recently and what it means and what it feels like to not perform like you thought you were going to and not cash or this or that. And we all have to remember that how you perform in disc golf should never define you. Sure, there's going to be like the McBeast, the 4-time, or the Ken Climo, the record-setting, individuals. But remember, at the end of the day, if you're in any division and you're not performing how you wanted to, or you didn't make it to what you wanted to, you can't give up for the next breath or for tomorrow or next year. We have to make good decisions for our families, for our friends, for our finances, and that's what I'm doing. And Dustin will be out there, and he got 9th last year strictly because I caddied for him.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
So I know that everyone listening, watching, and supporting is mentally caddying for him with me this year. But I'll be out there next year, and there will be other opportunities. The tour is going to be the tour as long as it is. And for those of you disc golfers that feel like you missed out on Worlds or Ledgestone or a big event this year that you didn't make it to, the tour is there next year and the year after and the year after. And we have to be supportive of the people that are finishing and doing it right now. And if you want to be upset about it, you're wasting your time. And I wasted a few minutes and tears, which made me dehydrated. I had to drink more water after crying. And honestly, that wasn't good. So I just want everyone to know, keep your heart and your spirit high and alive and reach to achieve. There's never an end point. Don't kick your bag or say you're going to sell your discs because you didn't do good. Remember that there's tomorrow. So with that being said, the last little thing I wanted to kind of talk about is that Dustin and I are doing a bunch of planning after he gets back from USDGC for next year, trying to make our tour next year even more mature for what it looks like to grow up the teaching scene everywhere we can.
Yes. To make it more fun, sometimes the 12 straight weeks of driving around playing tournaments takes a little out of us, and we want to go to those tournaments that are amazing, that are family, community oriented, that you really, after on Sunday evening, you're like, wow, what a weekend. That was awesome. And play more of those events, obviously the big ones, just because they're the big ones, and most of them are amazing.
Yeah.
In reality, they all are amazing, even though people complain. But like, just play less of the grind and more of the fun and more of the spectacular
Make
events.
it count.
Yeah, make everything worth it.
I know I'll probably play more local events next year, but I'll still come out for like the most important and my favorite national tour and majors. But maybe I won't do the grind as hard so that I can make it to something like USDGC next year. I just want to make sense out of like playing and competing, teaching and being good to myself and making it to what's important, you know?
So is the goal next year maybe to run more clinics while you're on the road on maybe your off days or anything like that? Is that what you're looking at?
That's maybe a little bit further down the list.
Okay.
I just in general staying connected all over social media and to the public and completely teaching everywhere I go. If I apply myself, there's never a moment, you know, I should be looking and scrapping for ways to have time by myself versus teaching everyone else. You know what I mean? So
sure.
Teaching everywhere and keeping the strong organ scene going and taking care of and servicing all the lessons that I've done here and all the leagues, all the things like that. And I know I could be a whole lot better on social media and promoting myself. So there's a whole lot about sitting down and taking that part seriously. But yeah. I think what it really amounts to is sitting down and making the most sense out of where you want to be, where you want to spend a little extra time and not miss smelling the roses and performing well while you're doing such.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, for me, it'll be a little bit different for Dustin, but for me, really being up and down the West Coast and taking care of everybody that needs a little bit of help getting something started or learning about the sport. This is maybe a little bit early to be talking about something like this, but we have a connection. We have a little bit of a hook on someone right now with working with the University of Oregon. And we all know that Nike and you know, the godfather of a lot of Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil, yeah.
University of Oregon is really important. And actually their Department of Science is starting to become interested in disc golf. And so more of what I'm trying to do right now is get my feet in the door where we can actually get a little more technology and expansion, you know, in the ways that we need to. I think media, I think what you, Joe, all of the media is doing on certain sides, ESPN getting on there, that's all good on certain sides of the sport. But now we needed to get that patented technology. We need to get that book written source. We need to get that study after study in this, you know, all these universities joining up worldwide. And so I think I'm focusing a little bit more on the development of the technology in the teaching. And I'm always looking for revenue through that or a way to travel and continue enjoying my life of disc golf, you know, with the promotion of the sport, doing that. I don't know if revenue is really ever going to be what you find in disc golf, but
no, yeah.
It's like being able to travel and do it and play it, and never put you always have to pay your bills and you always have to be responsible. So as long as my life and my health isn't in jeopardy, that's all I'm going for next year.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think it's all about finding exactly where you can excel, where you can have the most impact, and what can be most rewarding. And I realized many years ago I wasn't going to be a world champion. Yeah, I think I realized that. I realized that many years ago, and I was okay with that because I found at the time so much enjoyment out of running tournaments and trying to find a better way to do that, to be more efficient at it, and to really focus on some of the organizational things that I could put forth in hosting tournaments. So and then it obviously just has evolved from there. And I think everyone kind of goes through that. We all love the sport. We're all going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. And really, I mean, two of your most modern day examples, I think more than anyone, who are still great golfers, are Jay and Des. I mean, look what they did with their background, obviously in education, and she still went on to become a world champion. But taking all of that background that they had and being able to apply it, and then turning it into what is the Edge program right now. They're still concerned about golf, but they know they can't golf forever. They can teach and they can develop the Edge program forever. They can't golf forever, and that's.
I honestly, personally realized a long time ago, years ago, I never want to quit playing disc golf. I want to do this forever. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to sustain by teaching, just like they figured out years ago. And some people figure out they want to start a clothing company or this or that. And
store.
Yeah, and I think that all of that's good. But, just the reason I shared my story about not going to USDGC for anyone, again, trying to motivate, is that we can look at any idea we have or any mark that any place that we've come to already, and we can continue to set goals and look for those things to give us determination versus defeat. And missing a putt or not placing first is never what makes us who we are. That was the point.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And then I have to bring back one quick last little thing. I want to RSVP to a wedding that I know that Stephen and Kayla, soon to be Winslow, Kayla, didn't think I was going to make it because it's Saturday, October 10th of USDGC. And Stephen actually posts all the time on the little feed, which I can't read right now, but I hope they're watching right now. But
he corrected you earlier, actually, on the mini stuff. But go
thanks.
on. So there you go.
I am RSVPing to your wedding. Dustin can't be there, but I can represent Team Oregon and play at Camp Tulali for the disc golf wedding tournament.
Oh, nice. He's we're full. No, you missed pre-reg.
Only if she shows up in the Wonder Woman suit.
Yeah.
That's it? That's the only way you show.
Perfect.
Oh, man. You guys, thank you so much for having us on tonight. It's like,
of course.
It's
Always.
cool that we get a chance to share, and Dustin and I split ways after Oregon State Championships next weekend, and I hope everyone continues to follow what he's doing. I'll continue to be posting about my awesome off time in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And continuing to podcast with Smashbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Step inside.
And the fall and the winter, I think all of our topics are going to be really great. In case you guys haven't seen the movie Straight Outta Compton that was produced by Dr. Dre, I would highly recommend for your personal health watching it.
Okay.
Dustin and I got so motivated by this movie that we made Straight Outta Oregon.
Very nice.
Nice.
Can everybody see this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can see him.
And already for like a year and a half, I've had a mini with Biggie Smalls' face dyed on it, and that's nothing that has to do with the movie, but I've always been into rap and hip-hop, and it just seems like the time. So Visionaire Dye, my dye sponsor, made me an Eazy-E mini.
Awesome.
You guys can see how
Very
it goes.
nice. Very
and
nice.
then I throw Outlaws because Legacy makes the best discs, duh.
Mm-hmm.
But Ice Cube was a big part of the movie. Dude, are you kidding me? I have the best lineup in my bag ever for Oregon State Championships and, my off season. I just wanted to share those.
Zoe thugging it up. That's what she's doing.
Dustin was a big part of helping our dye sponsor to dye those today before he came up to Corvallis.
Yeah.
Straight out of Oregon.
Shout out to
forever.
Visionaire, the best dyes on the market.
Yeah.
Hashtag Thug Life.
Yeah.
West Coast.
Yeah.
All right. We love you guys. Thank you. And I'll be in touch about next week.
Awesome.
And I'll see you at USDGC.
Yeah, you probably will. One way or another. We'll see you there.
That's right.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Have a great night.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
and our favorite thuggish, ruggish bones in Dustin and Zoe joining us tonight.
Right.
Thank you guys so much. We're so glad that we can have talk about a variety of topics and things that come up on any given night.
I'll say this.
Who would have thought we would have went from
wedding nuptials to Eazy-E?
Yeah.
Not this guy. We quote a lot of different 90s rap and hip-hop stuff. Never once did I think Eazy-E was going to be on the podcast. Not tonight, at least.
I can't say I'm that surprised, but
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you guys again. One of the exciting things that I would like to talk about, talking about upcoming disc golf and action, and I know those guys were just talking about the USDGC and weddings and other things. I am making an official announcement right here at the second hour, or going on to our third hour, so second hour of our podcast. I am going to Smuggler's Notch.
You are?
Resort this weekend.
I didn't even know this.
No, you did not.
I know there was talks, there was rumblings. You had called me with a dilemma earlier this week saying, John.
Yep. That's not all been finalized, so we won't spoil it.
No, I'm not. So I'm just saying you had called me and said, I want to go for X, Y, and Z reason. You know, I can do one thing here and do this, but I'm like, you're like, I just, you know, there's financial issues and there's this and there's that. Should I go? And I was just kind of like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, as you usually don't know. So
I more or less told you, do whatever you think is right.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I will be at Smuggler's Notch Resort, which, you know, honestly, I don't even know if I know the exact. I'm flying into Burlington. I believe Burlington, Vermont.
Yes,
I know
Vermont.
where it's in Vermont. I don't know of the exact name of the city. I just know it's about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on who you talk to, from the Burlington airport, and then north of there, I believe, is where Smuggler's Notch is located. It's a Wyndham family or Wyndham resort.
Okay.
And then they have what they're doing is Fall Fest. And I maybe I don't know if
I'm
there's
going
fallfest.com maybe. I don't know if they were.
There's
but there is wow, there's going to be beer, I guess, which is important to some of our disc golfers. Nate Doss has actually brewed a specific beer just for this weekend.
Okay.
Called Unstable. And he's been working with them on doing that. That's going to get released, I think, on Friday night. So the professionals that are going to be there, which include Avery Jenkins, Simon Lizotte, Nate Doss, I believe I saw... who else did I see on that list? A lot of good people. I don't know if I saw Schustrick on the list or if I'm thinking of last year. Ricky Wysocki, I believe, is on there. Lots of
Understable is what people are saying it's called.
Unstable. I'm sorry.
Understable.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I saw a ton of great names on there, and I'm super excited to be there. So I know they're playing 2 rounds on Friday. There's going to be 1 round on Saturday, 1 round on Sunday, and there's going to be a crew. They have, I believe his name is Alex. I haven't spoken to him, but I talked to Jeff Spring over there, who kind of oversees all the Brewster Ridge disc golf and all the other things happening. And Jeff is a recreation director over there.
Yeah.
And they've got a crew. They're talking about 2 cameramen already, and then guys that edit really well. So I'll be watching some of that because I don't do that.
Peek over their shoulder like, well, what are you
hey,
doing?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Why are you doing it like that?
Jeff even said, he's like, they have a studio. I'm like, a what? Like, where they edit? I was like, wow, I can't wait to look at that.
We have a studio? What are you saying?
Yes, you're right. We do have a studio, but they have an editing studio.
I have edited videos here. This makes this an editing studio.
So I'm excited to see. I'm just going to roll up my laptop next to them and be like, hey, guys.
Yeah. Like, is that an Avid machine?
Yeah.
Like, it's my laptop.
They have done some very, very impressive things throughout the last couple of years. In terms of putting their videos out there. This year, I know they're going with a new format, how they're going to put out the videos. They may not be doing them on YouTube. I think they're going to put them out on Vimeo, which is going to be, I think, one of the coolest, maybe not everyone thinks this is cool, but one thing you're going to see is one of the criticisms that comes in of YouTube and YouTube videos is they talk about compression and how videos can look on YouTube.
Correct.
And when they go over to a site like Vimeo, which isn't quite as popular but is a little more professional it's cinematic and
yeah, there's, and I don't know, I'm not so much a compression kind of guy or codecs and things like that, but
I just use those words. I don't know what they mean.
Correct. People say that Vimeo can produce a higher quality of video it compresses.
So I can just like feed in clips and it makes a better
it
video
makes
for
a better
me?
video for you. Yeah, that's how it
It'd be
works.
awesome just to feed them in like.
So yeah, no. So Vimeo will make will show a better quality because it's less compression. It doesn't squeeze it down. Google is known for their phenomenal compression technologies with WebM and whatever, all that tech spec
Yeah,
stuff.
WebMD, I'm familiar.
Yeah, WebMD. Yes. Yeah. Go to WebMD. Just look up
I have
anything.
a compression problem. I check it out on WebMD.
Odds are you're dying. That's what WebMD will tell you.
Yeah.
You either have the common cold, or you're on your deathbed.
Okay.
So
thanks, WebMD.
Yes. But no, that's the Vimeo compresses it less. My understanding is, and it looks better, cleaner, whatever.
So I think what you're going to see is some video that maybe even get produced and shown on both, or maybe my videos on my normal channel, and I think they're working on their own channel, but I'm going to be kind of joining their team.
Cool.
And we're going to be cross-promoting one another. I'm going to be doing stuff for their official production. They're going to be sharing footage and doing stuff that's going to help out the Disc Golf Guy channel, and they're going to kind of roll out the individual rounds within a few days. So you're going to see a much higher production value. I know I kind of operate in the like get it done quick and dirty here and now as quickly as possible.
Sure. Maybe you'll teach them a thing or two.
Maybe not. But they're gonna kind of roll it out within a week. So it's not like we're taking months here. But they're gonna be rolling out each round a little bit slower, but with a much higher production value.
Sure.
And I'm just really excited. I know this is an A tier with more than $10,000 added. I know they have hopes and dreams of possibly even becoming a national tour next year. I know that Discraft has stepped up and is sponsoring this event more than they have sponsored some of the other events. I think they see a good thing coming, and I know Jeff works really hard. I know
we
like
get
I
it.
said,
It's great.
I can't wait.
I'm not going.
I am.
I know.
I've never been in Vermont. Either of you?
No. I've never been any further north than New York. So.
Okay.
What is New York?
Canada? No. Niagara Falls? No.
Well, I mean, I guess. I'm not exactly sure longitude latitude where Sandy Point is if you bring it straight over.
or you haven't even been to High Bridge either, have you?
No, I've never been. I've actually been in the UP though. So
okay. So super excited about it. I'm gonna. This is my last chance to talk it up. We kind of just finalized some details recently, and we're both taking a little bit of risks and chances here, but for the overall good of the coverage and the game, and for what they're doing, I'm jumping in head first. I think it's gonna be awesome. So this and Smuggler's Notch is, and I'll know more by the end of the weekend, of course. But I believe it's rated as one of the number one all season resorts in the world.
Sure.
They just have tons of different things going on. This whole entire fall festival.
You should just go there in all your Sandy Point gear. Just be like, "What's up? Hey,
have you guys heard of like Sandy Point Resort? SandyPT.com, one of my favorite places." So I'm excited. I know Steve Brinster's helped design some of the course. Or both of the courses. They had one course, and then I think they just added another course, and I'm excited. I'll give you a full update.
I'm sure you will.
It's going to be awesome.
Yay.
Really awesome. So Vermont in the fall, I guess the leaves are already turning.
I'll be in Door County.
Well, it'll be similar, but not nearly as nice.
It'll probably look the same.
It might, yes. So,
but it won't be as fun.
Looking forward to it, ladies and gentlemen. And I know this event's sold out. It's been sold out for a while. Top pros, lots of AMs. Yeah.
Just like Steven Winslow said, something maple syrup.
Yeah, exactly.
Period.
So full update. Clearly, you're going to hear about it. Plenty come next Tuesday. But then look for videos. Look for updates. It'll be my channel. It'll be Vimeo. It will be everywhere. Looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm so excited. So that was the huge news that I definitely wanted to share. We're going to have some huge news next week. With some special guests, some amazing special guests. Everybody's got news, and we'll give you.
How is it that the end of the year? I think we ran into this last year. The end of the year gets more big news than almost any other time during the year. Is that because everybody just waits till the tour is over and then says, "Hey, we got big announcements," just to not lose them during the year? I mean, we have, and I don't know, but yes, next week should be a lot of fun for our show.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a few teasers.
Teaser!
We're going to be talking a little bit with Team Trilogy, and some of the details there when you're looking to interact with Team Trilogy or possibly become a team member or something of that nature, we're going to have some Team Trilogy representation. Taking that a step further, we're going to be talking to Jeremy Rusko, who's got some really exciting things in the mix. And we're also going to be talking to our newlywed in Jamie Thomas. He's going to have some exciting stuff for us. So
we've been trying to get Jamie on for a while, since the European Open. So it'll be good to have him on the show.
It's the official tease. We got some DD stuff. We got some Jamie Thomas Spin TV stuff and Jeremy Rusko. It's looking forward to it. Next week's going to be a great show. Just like this week was.
Great show.
Great show. So very exciting stuff. Yeah, you guys better be here next week. Do we got anything else we need to worry about? Oh, I should look at my show notes.
No, but I was going to say,
I'll look.
No, there's nothing in our show notes.
Oh, Chris Cobb, I saw that you were in a car accident. We're really glad that you're
Everything's
okay, buddy.
okay.
Yep. Sorry to hear about your accident, but glad to hear.
Yep, Chris is a great guy.
You are good.
So, yeah, you have some...
Ooh, I got another quick note. Yes.
Go ahead.
Recently dropped. I don't think anyone says that anymore, but my latest video blog was just released at midnight last night, and it was a little overdue. I do apologize for that, but earlier in the year, when I was out at the Masters Cup, I connected with our friend Shasta Chris, who was here in studio a few weeks ago. Connected with Shasta, and we did something that others are going to steal now, maybe. But
I saw a screenshot. I haven't seen a video, but
it's fabulous. No, it's.
Did you do graphics?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I did not do the graphics.
Okay.
They were provided.
Okay.
Were you impressed?
Again, I haven't watched the video.
Okay.
I saw the preview that you put up on Facebook with a screenshot, and I saw graphics there, and I was like, and all I thought is, he either spent a lot of time without telling me on graphics, or someone provided them.
Yes, so they were provided. So what I did is kind of a hybrid course preview along with an in the bag. But it's not really sold as one or the other. So what I did is I went out to De La Viega, one of the most famous courses in disc golf, and I met up with Shasta Chris. This was just after the Masters Cup had taken place in May. And he told me about a hole and how he was going to attack that hole, and then with what disc he was doing it with.
Okay.
So rather than, I'm going to call them, most of them are boring. I know they get hundreds of thousands of views, but for somebody to sit down with their bag, this is this, this is this, this is this, I throw this, I have 6 of these. I decided to be a little bit more hands-on. Shasta was hands-on, and he said, I have this squall. I have this squall. It turns over. This hole requires this, but on this hole, you definitely don't want to be right, or you don't want to be left, or so on and so forth. And so I kind of felt it was a really nice hybrid. And I worry other people are going to steal that, but oh well.
You know what?
You saw it here first. The Disc Golf Guy video blogs, ladies and gentlemen.
Just remember that.
Yeah. So look for that. Please go out and check them out.
Jason Saw says, boom, already watched it.
Yeah, you did. And I got to thank, again, DGA for working with me for the Masters Cup. I have a really cool piece, another piece that's going to be a result from the Masters Cup that I guess I'll just say it. It kind of talks a little bit about the the trophy, the Steady Ed trophy. And, I did a little insightful piece on that, and I think people are going to like it.
I hope so. I think they should.
No, this isn't Macbeth throwing the front 9. I don't care.
Too.
You guys should enjoy it. Honestly, I'm really excited about it, and that was another piece that I did out there. So, man, I still have Silver Cup stuff to put out. John Dorn, I'm calling you out. I'm not doing Silver Cup without your T-signs. I'm going to put together some Mad City Open stuff. I've got this Masters Cup to wrap up. I still got footage. You're going to see stuff for a while yet. Not exciting? No? I think you guys are excited.
It is. It is exciting. Seeing you do work is exciting for me.
Yes, good. I'm so glad that you're on board with it. When are you going to do work?
I do work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I don't really do a lot of work at work.
I hope all your coworkers and boss are listening.
I have an assistant who does a lot of stuff.
Could you get him to do some work for me?
I don't.
Can he edit?
I could tell him to.
Yes. Be like, hey, I need you to edit this.
I need you to do this for work. And he's like, it's a bunch of disc golf. Which I shut your mouth and do the work.
Yes.
So no, it's good stuff. I'm glad you're getting stuff done. It's great.
Okay. Well, I got stuff to do. So Very, very exciting. Wow, we covered a lot of topics tonight
We
without
did,
having
and-
much of an agenda.
Yeah, I was gonna say bring it up with Zoe, but sometimes it's hard to get a word in edgewise with Zoe. It seems like a lot of golfers are starting to take the mentality of not grinding it out, so to speak, playing every week, but playing more events that they enjoy and taking a little bit more of a break, having more fun, I'll say.
The problem is fun doesn't pay.
No, fun doesn't pay. We know
In fact, it's opposite usually.
usually costs you money.
Yeah.
But as Zoe said, it can burn you out. There's still like the Ulis who tend to grind it out all the time. And Paige, who when we interviewed her earlier this year when she was first going out with Madison, seemed very hesitant about, Madison kind of dragging her off to these places.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see throughout her posts throughout the year, her having fun. And then she put up this great end of the year kind of post thanking everybody and thanking Madison specifically about more or less bringing her out and forcing her to have fun, and that it helped her out. It helped out her game. And you could see how much she dominated the first half of the year. Kat kind of came on towards the second half of the year, but Paige still ended up, taking Worlds and the last NT. So
yeah, pretty much that's all due to Madison.
We'll go with Madison with that. Madison,
Good job, Madison.
I hope
you're a co-winner of Worlds.
I hope you get your cut.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Jim C. Smith says, "This is awesome, but does it end soon?"
No,
Jesse. If you're interested, go to bed. Seriously, you can watch this tomorrow. You can download it as an audio podcast.
Where can they find that?
They could find that either on Smashbox.tv. That's one place if you just want to stream it from the web. All the podcasts get put up there almost immediately after we end our show, usually within about 20 minutes.
Okay. Or
you can use any of your local phone podcasting apps. I prefer one called Casts, otherwise it used to be known as Pocket Casts. It lets you download automatically or choose to download at your convenience. So I prefer that one. Otherwise, look at us up on iTunes, any sort of podcasting app. If we're not on a particular spot, let me know, and I'll either tell you I'll get on it or I'm not going to bother, depending on what it is. So, yeah, and you can find us on YouTube, of course, where we are right now. The YouTubes. Just look at Smashbox TV under YouTube, and we'll be there with all of our videos and our broadcasts and anything else we decide to put up. So, so Jesse, if you're getting tired, go take a nappy nap and catch us later.
Yeah, we'll be
here. Probably when you wake up. It's still going live.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. We should start thinking about that 24-hour podcast-a-thon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Is that a term, podcast-a-thon? It could be. I may have just trademarked that.
I doubt it. I'm sure it's been done before, but I know the podcast-a-thons have been done. I don't know if that's what they've been called, but
is it really just
it's a marathon.
Broadcast?
It's a broadcast. Yeah, it's a 24-hour broadcast or marathon.
I like podcast-a-thon.
Yeah, we could do a lot. That would be so much fun at some point.
It would.
We would.
And we would definitely tie it into some kind of charity, come up with some...
the Johnny V charity.
The Johnny V or the St. Jude Children's Hospital, Research Hospital.
Oh, my. What do I need to shave my head to get money?
We will...
Is that offensive?
Yes.
Okay.
We could... there's a lot of different things that we could do.
No, I think the St. Jude is the way to go, seeing as how they've been such a good supporter of disc golf and kind of back and forth. That or some sort of children's hospital. St. Jude is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. So I would look forward to doing that maybe sometime here in our are we going to have an off season?
It doesn't seem like it. I thought we were going to have an off season last year, and it didn't seem to happen.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I think we can close things up here for the regular show. I guess we'll chit-chat a little bit here in the after show if you want to stick around, but we will close things up here soon and wrap up. I think we got all the the important messages out there. And if you don't already know, stick around any night that we do claim or tell you we're going to have an after show. We just do more babbling, really.
Yeah.
I can't say it's a lot different. It's a little less structured, and there's usually a lot more interaction with people, giving us questions off the chat board, sending us links, asking if we've seen this. And I know one of the questions for tonight, I've never done this before.
An after show tease?
An after show tease.
Good Lord.
In the after show tonight, we'll be talking radar guns. So
somebody did ask about that.
That was my idea.
Yeah.
No, radar guns. We'll talk a little bit about radar guns. That gives us a great conversation piece.
And if you're listening at the podcast, if you've downloaded this and thought, I really want these guys in my ears during the day, and you're free Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Central, feel free to join us live.
Yeah, live.
Some people think, oh, they do a podcast. What they don't realize is that we also do this live every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. You can join us right here. Be a Smashy live while you watch us on our YouTube. It's always youtube.com/smashboxtv/live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. So feel free to join us, chime in. We answer questions. If you have something you want answered, a lot of people starting to send us messages, but frankly, I prefer just a question right on the board live. We'll answer your questions via email or Facebook text or whatever. Knock on my door and ask me a question. I might answer it.
Come and knock on my door.
Come and knock on my door.
I don't know the next
We've
line.
been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
That's all I can go.
Na, 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 Three's Company too.
Okay. But yes, 9 o'clock Central right here on YouTube. Watch us live. We'd love to get our numbers up for YouTube. And not that the live numbers really matter that much because everyone looks at the total views, which get a ton of them. So thanks everyone for tuning in.
All right. So for Johnny V and myself, this has been podcast number 53 right here in our Smashbox studios. We'll catch you guys next time when you step inside the Smashbox. Oh, shoot. I think I was looking at the wrong camera. I was looking at that camera as we closed out.
It doesn't really matter that
Welcome
much. Welcome to the Aftershow, brought to you by Johnny V.
Sponsors.
And a sponsor that you should be right there. You.
We should have Aftershow sponsors. That's a good idea.
Okay. We've been someone reached out. Did you look at that comment?
Briefly.
I have not had a chance. We were reached out to earlier this year about some sponsorship, a commercial during the podcast or a sponsor, so to speak. And they just reached out again saying, hey,
they're getting closer?
They're getting closer. Don't forget about us. They're getting their finances together for their upcoming off season.
So they can give us that mad money.
So they can give us some mad disc golf rich cash.
We're going to throw it out there. I don't think it should be a secret at this point, or it could be. What we've tentatively thought about is having show sponsors at $50 a week. Buy 4 weeks, get the 5th one free. So looking at that, so that's kind of like a month of coverage. Obviously, we're on Tuesday nights. We could possibly brand a specific segment that you may want, like, weekend updates with Dana might, presented by. We've got some logistics there that we'd have to figure out. We're open to more clever naming than what we can provide. Or if you have your own segment, I know we've heard from some locals. We were gonna do a lawyer type segment that we've never really gotten around to.
Oh, sure.
That wasn't going to be sponsored, but we've never really gotten even around to doing that. And there's other segments. If there's really good ideas for segment ideas, and you can bring them to us, and you think there's enough content there for us to babble about,
whether
and
or not
your company wants to present it, I'm good with that.
Or whether or not you want to be part of it. If it's something that you are well versed in, and you're not afraid to make a fool of yourself live like we do, please reach out to us. We're always open to ideas.
And as we move forward, I'd like to say, Don, sorry, I know you've called me once or twice in the last day, and I've just been running around crazy having my kid miss the bus today. I had a kid who was sick yesterday.
Yeah.
And then we'll say it's my fault. My other one missed the bus today. It's and my car's in the shop, my Element, which is having all sorts of problems. I put out a video on my personal channel this weekend of some clunking noise.
Oh, I saw your daughter. Was it the clunking noise you told me that the guy told you that didn't matter?
No, that was a different one.
That's a different clunking noise.
Yes, believe it or not.
Fantastic.
It sounds like rear stabilizer bar is having issues, or sway bar. Somebody clarifies the sway bar and the stabilizer bar the exact same thing. I think they are. I think that's an interchangeable term. But anyways, my stabilizer links are shot in the front. My bushings for I'm going to sound really good here. My bushings for the stabilizer bar in the front and back are shot. The real problem, my CV axle, which is a pretty big deal. That's pretty much what drives rotates your wheel.
Okay.
driver's side.
It's cracked or something.
I don't. They didn't actually specifically say, but they said it needed to be replaced. I watched a video on it today, which didn't do me any good. But
no, that sounds expensive.
It was about it's about $100 part. $70 to $100 part, and when it's all said and done, about $300 to install.
Okay, that doesn't sound.
Or $300 total.
That's not as expensive as I was thinking.
So there was that.
It sounds like you've got a small pocket full of expenses coming up.
Yes, a large pocket full of kryptonite. No,
pocket full of kryptonite. Yes.
Yes, a large pocket full of expenses. Serpentine belt they offer.
That's always.
I'll say this.
And I know I had a serpentine belt literally go out on me when I was in high school. On my way home from school, I stopped at a red light. And when I went to go, it just and the car went nowhere. And then it was maybe it was a timing belt. Either way, it just went. My car would not move, and then just kind of went and just stopped. I was about a mile from my house at about 1 a.m. and had to basically call my parents to come pick me up at the time. So,
well, I do after it's all been added up. And yeah, like everything else, if you do it on your own, you can save a few bucks. I'm not that mechanically inclined, nor do I have the tools, or quite frankly, the time, or do I trust myself touching my own car parts. So unfortunately, I'm going to have a very significant bill tomorrow. And they called and they're like, well, and then I even said, oh yeah, my dome light isn't working and my dash lights aren't working. And sure enough, they pulled out something was shorted and bulb this and shorted that, and
hopefully that was pretty easy. And
no, it was $100. The cluster bulb something
in the grand scheme to
capacitor.
Me, like, I mean, $100 is like I mean, for something that you don't truly need. It's
but I feel like when they're already in there, they're already doing it. They
might as well do it. Exactly. $100 is just on top of whatever X amount you're going to pay anyway.
So yeah, that wasn't fun. So Don, I do apologize. I know I've missed you with your phone calls for the last couple days, but we'll talk soon. I see what you got working on.
Someone's asking earlier if you're liking your Canon camera. I mean, you've had the Canon camera for a while. You got a replacement.
Well, I think maybe the real question was he had seen my DSLR.
The new DSLR. Is that a Canon?
That's a Canon.
Okay.
That's the T3i, which is not a new model by any means. In fact, I had originally went with the T5. And then after getting it home like that night and digging into it a little bit more, I think there wasn't an external microphone jack. There was not one.
Okay.
It was either that or something HDMI related, one of the two, but it didn't have it. And I was like, that seems crazy because it's a newer model. Sure. And I actually went back and got the T3i, and I got that last October right before the Doss Jenkins wedding. Joe Height helped me, taught me a thing or two. Him and Steve Brinster, actually. And so, yeah, the T3i is what I have.
Okay.
And that's what I shot my first ever handheld video blog with my daughters this week and put that together. So far, I like it. I reached out to Joe Height, who we've referenced a number of times tonight, very established, awesome editor and cameraman. And he told me something surprising in that I said, which external microphone should I go with for my Canon DSLR? And he's like, they're all crap. I'm like, I don't believe that. He says they're not going to be much better than the onboard mic, and I don't believe that at all. Because you see a Marty McFly, and you see the Gomez brothers using...
There's the external mic, and my guess is that they have an external mic so they can wind wrap it.
Yeah. They all have...
Because you can't really wind wrap your onboard mic.
I don't know if I like that term, wind wrap, but go on.
I can't think of a better, like...
Windscreen?
Windscreen, wind protect it from the wind. Anyway.
Wind wrap.
Wind wrap it. Anyway, I don't mind it.
I'll
trademark that. And so maybe that's the particular reason. Maybe the sound quality isn't going to be much better. Maybe an external is going to be a little more directional.
For sure.
But as far as quality goes, maybe it's not going to be any better, he's saying. I don't know.
Steve, thanks for chiming in. He says, I don't know anything about mics, but I believe a fluffy mic is better than a nut. And you're absolutely right. And the whole point, and this is a great comment that a lot of people may or may not know. When you see...
Everybody loves your fluffy mic.
When you see... people walking around, this is you see Maresma, but when there are people walking around a course, the disc golf courses, and you see these big furry, they call them dead cats. When you see those big furry things, we're all using them, and they're all for wind protection, and it's unbelievable what you can have.
The difference you will hear if during our broadcast, if you hear wind, that means that it's got to be at least like 20 miles an hour, because anything less than that is getting blocked by that windscreen, by the wind wrap. And
by the wind
by
wrap.
the wind wrap. I'm gonna keep using it. By the windscreen on the mic. So if you're hearing wind, it's because the wind is that much more powerful. Now I think they make even better ones than one we have for even that are run $50, $70, $80, $100. But so Jomez chimed up and he said the Rode Video Mic Pro is the way to go on that. So.
Yeah, so you see those guys use them. You see everybody use them. That's what they are. Some people don't.
Yep.
5 years ago, I had no idea what those were and what the purpose was. And
there's so much we've learned in 5 years, Terry.
There's so much
and there's so much we've ignored.
There's so much I've learned about cars in the last 48 hours too, because as I was trying to research the potential clunking noise that I heard and talking to friends, I found Eric the Car Guy. Big shout out to Eric the Car Guy, who's got millions of views on YouTube. It's kind of coincidental in that he's a car guy that breaks down everything that he does. He happens to own an Element. So it's one thing, I think, to see people do something and he kind of tells you the process. When he owns the exact same car as you, it makes it even that much easier to relate to it. But Eric the Car Guy, he's got some amazing videos out there. He's been doing them forever. And huge shout out to him. I watched way more car footage than I should have this weekend, so considering I'll never get a wrench out and do it.
I know. Well, the funny thing is, so you're watching car videos. You know what I'm watching lately? Woodworking videos.
Oh, sweet.
Like, I built my kid's toy box upstairs and it turned out, I'd say on an 8 out of 10, I think it turned out a good 7. Like,
wow.
There's a couple things
impressive.
Yeah, especially for like, I'm not much of a woodworker kind of guy. I'd really like to get more into it, build some more things. And there's things that I would change now, but lately all I've wanted to do is just like watch YouTube videos of people building stuff. Like, oh wow, like watch him. Oh no, that polyurethane he's adding.
Oh,
I see that. Like, oh, he's building a dresser. I could do that.
Oh yeah, time for some dovetail joints.
Yeah, like look at that Craig joint. Like, I really like the way he's doing that. I've been watching a ton of them. Plus, we're looking at refinishing the upstairs a little bit, so kind of doing that too. So it's amazing your changes in viewing habits to certain things.
Well, and I was taking it all in. So thanks to Cass and Matt and everyone that had any input, Ryan, Steve, everyone that had some input or not as to what was maybe happening with my car this weekend. But it's got 189, we'll call it 190,000 miles on my Element. It's 2005. I love the car to death, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's definitely at that kind of upkeep and maintenance point where a few things need to be done. But
sure.
It was. I think I explained it to you. For those who don't know or think you may
or don't care.
or care, when I would accelerate, no noise. When I'd press on the brake, no noise. It's only when I would coast. You heard a
clunk.
Constant clunk, a very rhythmic clunk.
Huh.
And it got very, very worse in between Saturday and Sunday, and I had errands to run and things to do. So, anyway.
So, is there anything on the board people want us to talk about? Any questions? Any clarifications on rules that we can make today?
Heyo!
It was so funny listening to Zoe talk about that, and I was 90% sure she was wrong as far as the Mini goes. Now, as far as circular or not.
I've never heard that.
I don't think it is, because I think you could have like a square Mini as long as it fit within the circumference or the diameter of whatever it is.
Pi r squared?
Sure. 2 pi r squared?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would have to look back, which is exactly why.
But listening to her say that, I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm pretty sure she's wrong there. And then to hear everyone clarify it was good. This is why I like our live viewers, because they are on it.
Yes. If you're wrong, they will tell you.
Circular is specifically stated in the technical standards document.
There you go. Right. Thanks, Stephen.
So thanks, Stephen.
Well, so here's the question. When it's circular, let's use a donut for an example.
Too tall, but okay.
Okay. Or really flat. Let's say a really flat hamburger.
How about just the bottom of a hamburger bun?
Okay. You take a bite out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Still good? It's no longer uniformly circular.
I don't think so.
The Ninja Star Minis, so to speak, that were made by Vibram a year or two ago, they're kind of circular if they continued, but they're Ninja Stars. It's a star.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Legal? I don't know. So, I mean, it's kind of I don't know. I'd be curious to know and get some of the specifics.
Oh, thanks, Steven. Steven's like, I was wrong earlier, so maybe you shouldn't trust me when I said circular. Thanks, Steven. Make sure to mention it to Zoe when she's at your wedding or whatever. So at your little tournament. Do either of us participate in Discraft Ace Race? You've run a few of them in the past.
I've run a few.
And I have played in 3 or 4 of them. I've got some really old Ace Race discs hiding in my closet somewhere. So Cookie is legit for a mini.
Again, what if you take a bite out of it?
No, then. Now, one of the maybe a larger Oreo, if you twisted it and ate half of it, you'd be safe, because I think the other bottom half is still a circle.
But that'd have to be a huge Oreo, because it needs to be 7 centimeters.
I'm talking like a big Oreo.
I mean, they don't make Oreos that big, though.
You don't know that.
I do know that. I have researched. Hashtag Cookie Putter. She's. I've got video of her. I've got to still get together.
Yeah.
We got a lot of video.
I saw a post made by Phil Arthur.
Yep.
Talking about how Eva, who it was the amateur world Ava was the amateur world champion this year that we interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And she was at the Hall of Fame Classic cheering on Will.
Mm-hmm. Will Schuster.
And I didn't get around to it. I want to make a post about how impressed I was for the 5 to 10 minutes that we got to sit and chat with her about how well spoken she is for such a young woman, that it's still thinking about it, I'm thinking like, wow, like she's on the ball. It's good. So.
Cookie.
Actually, an Oreo would meet the minimum standard.
What?
7
centimeters? Because isn't 2.32 centimeters 1 inch? 2.32. That sticks out. Maybe it's 2.42. Something 2.2. I don't know if I believe this.
Seriously, that's not.
What are you looking up? Average, the diameter of an Oreo. That looks pretty easy.
1.75 inches is a.
1.7. Okay, do a little conversion.
1.75 inches to centimeters.
It's 4.45. Didn't they say it had to be 7?
It had to be 7. So you'd need an Oreo almost twice, not quite twice the size.
Here we are, math on the air again. This can be made of a variety of materials, and actually an Oreo would meet. I don't believe that it does.
No, I think
a typical Oreo, unless you get some obscure,
like giant
special edition Oreo. I don't think so. Oh, 7 is the max. No, really?
I thought someone said 15 centimeters was the max. I'm gonna have to look up the technical.
I know we keep going by all these half truths by all of our.
That's what we trust our Smashies for.
Oh, okay. No, and there's no way that. Yeah, 7 is the minimum size. Thank you, Country Disc Golf.
Yeah.
That makes sense. 7, yes, because you can't use a bottle cap. You know, there are certain things that that I've known and seen, and you can't use something like a bottle cap, for instance. It's too small. And a bottle cap's not
mini
that
marker.
Much smaller.
All right, here, officially. Mini marker must have a circular shape with a diameter ranging from 7 centimeters to 15 centimeters and a height of not exceeding 3 centimeters. Mini marker discs can be made from a variety of materials, e.g. plastic, metal, or wood, or probably rubber, anything. As long as it's, they don't specifically say a variety of materials, so it could be made out of Jell-O as long as it stays together.
JelloMinis.com. I'm gonna register it right now.
I think you should. So 7 centimeters. So no, unfortunately, our Oreo will not work. But if I went to a gas station and picked up a big cookie, it would work.
More than likely.
King size Reese's maybe?
No, not big enough.
Not big enough. Nope. The king size aren't. Well, those are usually the taller. No, the king size are the taller ones. King size. No. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think king size Reese's. We should make
a Pringles cap is good to go. I believe that does that. That
sounds about right.
Yep, that fits close enough.
I mean, I haven't measured a Pringles cap, but that seems about the right size.
Yeah, it's not much smaller than a mini, so.
We should have a Smashbox officially approved mini objects and just have the list. Good or not good? Oreo, not good. And just make up a list.
That would be kind of funny as like I'm put it on Facebook and just have a list of things like minis that work, minis that don't work. like no and yes. Oreos, no. Reese's Pieces, no. Like just all these foods and then yes, Pringles can. You know.
Four egg omelet? Yes. 3 egg omelet? No. Or whatever.
Omelets aren't circular.
I don't know. I was just
like
thinking
a half
like
circle.
Yeah, whatever. You're right. Terry Gallops? I don't know if Terry Gallops is mini size. I don't think so. I don't know if that's where you're going with it. An oatmeal cream pie, I bet you that would be of size.
Yeah. It might be too tall.
3 centimeters.
That's...
do the centimeters to inches. Is it 2.74, not 2.52? Do it. Let's figure it out. I need to know what...
you want to know
1 inch or
2.54.
I said 2.42.
2.54 centimeters. So
2.54. So 3 centimeters is a little over an inch. 3 centimeters. So I'm just trying to think about the oatmeal cream pie.
I know.
I will go buy one for research right now and find out.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, John. Omelets are circular before they're flipped, but
I should have said like a fried egg.
Like a fried egg.
That's what in my head I was thinking fried egg.
But you
and
spit
then
out
I spit
omelet.
out omelet.
I know, it's okay.
That was my fault. I can admit when I'm wrong. Terry Gallops used an icebreaker mint container in an old McFly tournament video.
I'd have to see it, but I don't know.
The icebreaker...
I'm not a gum chewer,
yeah,
so...
I mean, I feel like that's a similar size to like a hockey puck. I feel like that's a similar size. Icebreakers, I think those are a little flatter.
This is a definite call out to all Smashies that play tournaments.
Most unique mini.
The next unsanctioned event you play, I want a picture of you using some sort of food item as your mini. Whether it's
it could be sanctioned. Why does it have to be unsanctioned?
Because unsanctioned, I want to see all the different crazy. because in a sanctioned event you can't use an Oreo, but in an unsanctioned event you could totally use an Oreo,
sure.
Unless they say you have to abide by PDGA rules. Then do not do that.
Yeah.
But
good call.
But if it's just a standard unsanctioned event where, you know, get it okayed with the TD first, and then like a Whopper, and then as the holes go by, it just gets smaller and smaller.
That would suck to have to wait that long, hole after hole, to eat your Whopper, and then you're putting it down.
I know, you have to put it on the wrapper or something, maybe.
Yeah. Sounds like a little too much effort.
It does.
Yes, you could use a breakfast egg from McDonald's. I agree with that. The preformed.
I mean, they're good, but
eggs.
Just the thought of like the fact it's a preformed piece of food is always kind of make. I eat them and they're delicious, but it's still like ugh. The thought.
I know in a month they're playing your first sanction, but a Southern Nationals event. Good. Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. So we need pictures. We have to give away a prize. We'll have discs made by then.
Sure.
We have to.
We will?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I keep saying that.
Awesome.
But definitely your and here's an ongoing. Okay, so let me finish my thought. Yes, as Johnny V said, we want pictures of your most unique items, food items or otherwise, but food items would be funnier.
Yeah.
That you're using.
Well,
as
we don't
a
know
mini
that. There could be
competition.
something awesome, funny that we haven't thought about.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, are they supposed to be mini size though?
Maybe. I was gonna say something like, if your kids are listening, put them to bed. Don't let them listen to the next like 10 seconds. Like open up a condom, use a condom, and then just hey, look, that's my mini.
That's weird. So
it's a double entendre joke, which is kind of funny. So anyway, go ahead.
So take pictures of that, and this is an ongoing thing that I think we need to publish and promote and talk about more. We want to see how you're consuming Smashbox. It could be our podcast,
sure.
But especially when we are live covering stuff that really matters, like disc golf tournaments.
Sure.
We want to see you doing it at the beach. We want to see you.
Says diaphragms.
We want to see how you are consuming Smashbox. Do you have 20 friends over? Take a picture of it. Are you watching it on some crazy screen?
Yeah.
Are you at a drive-in movie theater and they put it up? Are you at a bar and there's hundreds of people watching? We will be giving out more prizes for people that have the best Smashy, viewership viewership
Sure.
methodology, if that's... I could throw all those words together.
Greg Wass says, "What up, punks? Just who got home from the Hall of Fame Classic, and it's 2 days with the PDGA board meetings. That guy." All right, Greg Wass, fill us in. What was good at the PDGA meetings? What can't you tell us that you're going to tell us now?
Yeah, it's just us and a few listeners here in our Smashbox TV after show.
So can't stand Zoo. When you walk in for that Magnum in the grocery store and you ask for it and everyone's rolling their eyes at you and you just tell them it's for a sport.
Yeah, it's for
disc golf.
It's my mini.
It's my mini. It's my mini Magnum.
So welcoming to the show. If he wants to Skype in,
yeah, Greg Waugh. If you want to Skype in, feel free to grab us. Our Skype is just Smashbox TV. We'll put you on if you want to sit and chat about anything interesting at the Hall of Fame or the board meeting. We're all ears. I mean, this is kind of after show stuff, or we can save it for. No, not next week. We're pretty busy next week, so you can't get on next week, Greg. Don't even try.
No, just call in right now, Greg. Get on your Skype. Make sure your kid's still sleeping. Get on your Skype. Join us. We haven't really had any after show guests in forever.
Greg Waugh says he can tell you it'll all be made available in the meeting minutes on the website per usual. Yeah, I don't want to wait for that. I want to hear it from you.
No, that's not good. I will be reading because I'm going to be reading.
Terry
those.
Can't read.
Yes. Can't Skype. Baby is asleep. Wow, I called that one. We don't care. Go outside. It's nice out. You're in Indianapolis.
Do you live in a one-bedroom or a one-room apartment that you can't walk to another room and talk?
This is for Smashbox. This is serious stuff. So we're currently giving Matt Gregoire, otherwise known as Media Marty, from the PDGA. He is the man behind PDGA Live Twitter account and has helped really put the PDGA on the map in terms of the Twitter and so much of the other social media aspects that we've seen developed in the last 4 or 5 years. And he said he had just gotten home from the Hall of Fame Classic, as well as then sitting in at the board summit meeting. So he's technically a PDGA employee.
Yep.
And he should probably join us.
Yeah. So here's something I'll bring up with the Smashies, and I know I've talked to you about it, so I kind of want to get their input. I want to do more podcasts.
Okay.
Not just our Smashbox podcast. I'd like to maybe try to bring in some other subjects, most disc golf related. What are the thoughts about, and I haven't even brought it up with her yet, but doing something like breaking out Zoe's segment to maybe a separate podcast? Because we tend to go long with Zoe. She's almost always an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. So what are the thoughts on maybe some other podcasts you would listen to related to disc golf? Remember that this is mainly an audio format, so don't tell me I want you to break down video of me throwing, because it's not going to work in a podcast form. It could work in a video podcast, but audio, not so much. What are your thoughts about that? Maybe breaking Zoe out to another time, or maybe having her on here as well, and then breaking her segment out to another podcast that we release a day later. I don't know. I'm just kind of rumbling off thoughts right now. We definitely are keeping Zoe on as part of our group, and I think that she is an asset for sure, and she has nowhere to go but up. So, but is there anything else out there that you would like to hear us talk about, or something that you think should be covered, maybe long form, that you aren't getting? I'd like a results highlight segment where you'd find more detail about the event or the courses or the battles, says Casey.
Okay. And I think that could be made more possible with more field reporters or on-site people that can then chime into us.
Correct. I think that one we'd love to have something like that. It might be a little tougher because we are not on-site. Don't touch that. Those are my quarters. You did not drop them. It's a cushion for underneath the stuff. So, yeah. Terry whenever Terry sees change, he thinks it's his.
This probably is mine.
No, it's not. I just pulled it out of my pocket from when I went to the gas station.
Which I gave you earlier.
You can give me anything. I bought you a soda. So,
I heard somebody once call out that they want, how did they word it? Alone time with Tear Bear as a segment or something like that. I don't know. It was weird. But
that's weird when I do it like that. It just kind of looks awkward.
Oh, yeah, I guess it does.
Terry versus JV match play. We already proved this year that I'll crush him.
Yes, we definitely should take that back out to the course.
That I could see something like that would be fun for our podcast-a-thon.
Yeah,
like we go out to just a random course. Maybe like we go to Root River where neither of us have played the new event and just blindly play it for fun.
Yeah,
something like that.
$50 a hole. I'd be all about
all
that.
Going to charity, right?
Yeah. Most of it.
No, I'm not. No.
Casey Connors, who's also a local to us, says more of a sports center type show for the events. What do you mean by that, Casey? Are you talking about when we do our nightly podcasts, when we've been at a few events like at the Glass Blown Open this year, because if what you're alluding to or hinting at is that you'd love to see us take video clips and then play them and talk about them, basically what the Insider Show did.
Well, here's something
we're just not there.
Here's something I'd like to see, and this gets into the territory of someone's going to steal that idea. If you're out there playing an event that we are probably not going to cover, let's say it's a small A tier or a big B tier or something, feel free to just grab a quick interview with the winner.
Sure.
We are happy to play it. I can do all sorts of great things. I could have a little video screen right here between us like ESPN does, or like if you ever watch the Colbert Show where it pops up on the side and, whatever. And we can talk about that event and show the interview with the player who won. So if it can be done on a decent phone, it doesn't have to be high quality, because remember, this isn't mainly an audio format. But we don't want it to look bad.
But also don't do it out in the wind either, because then...
Yeah, just use your best judgment. Review the footage before you send it to us. But yes, if you want to do some sort of interview with your local event winner, I don't want your local league, but if it's a PDJ-sanctioned event, not a PDJ-sanctioned league, a PDJ-sanctioned event, sure, I'd love to. I'd love to have like a Sports Center breakdown, and maybe that's another thing we could look into. We could have Dana come in and just kind of... for our podcast, highlight the main events, and then we could have another, let's just say Thursday night, one of us sits and records, like, I find it kind of dry as far as who won and things like that, because a lot of times you may not know the battle, you may not know that it came down to the last hole and this and that. That would require a lot of us reaching out to tournament directors or people at the event saying, hey, how did this event go? But if there was some sort of submittal process that people, if you went to an event and we got enough of them in, I think we could find a way to do something like that.
Yeah, we probably could. It's just all it's a matter of people submitting that to us.
Yeah, because we can't be everywhere. Terry tries.
I try. I leave often enough, and I can't be everywhere. And we all know I'm going to go to Smuggler's Notch. Have you heard of this new Vermont resort? No. I'm going to be at Smuggler's Notch, but there could be a great battle taking place on the other side of the country this weekend, and we're going to need somebody to shoot a little bit of film and to submit it to us, and maybe give us a backstory or give us the an interview with someone out there. We would gladly take it. So
Phoenix Ruger Redbird says he's going to get a mic wrap for his phone.
Perfect. Put your phone in a sock. Actually, that works pretty well.
Yeah.
No, it does.
It does. So you guys are hiring then?
Mic wrap with a sock.
Casey, we will hire you. You may not like the amount we hire you for, but we will hire you.
We are definitely hiring at free $99.
Free $99.
So we will take that. We'll take that information, and I guess what I was saying though, and I'll reiterate: we are not the insider, and we can't be. And I say that
that's not true. We could be.
Okay.
We don't want to be.
No, I'm not saying we don't. No, we don't want to be in some ways. We can't be with current. Manpower
as far as all the other events. I'm thinking like just as far as production quality, we could do everything that they did. As far as
in that kind of turnaround.
Not in that kind of turnaround.
No, that's my point. Like, if somebody
they had feet on the ground,
what they did at the European Open was hands down more hands on deck, and more people and more energy and more money than any other tournament has put into round coverage, which is what allowed to have a half dozen or a dozen cameramen out there, and then 2 or 3 or 4 editors putting it all together.
Sure.
That was a enormous effort, and it looks so phenomenal, and I applaud them, and there's nothing you can take away from it. It was amazing, and I wish we had that, but that is all money and manpower. That is...
Yeah, and can't stand Zoo. He'd rather see a round than a wrap-up show, though. And what I'm talking about is more like what you'd get at Sports Center, maybe just saying, because right now we cover the big events, the majors, the NTs, a couple A tiers. We don't usually, and we get into occasional B tier.
And when you say cover, you mean we recap. I think you should use that word.
I'm talking more recap. If it's a big event and one of us is there, then we'll for sure do some sort of major coverage. Either Terry will do round by or hole by hole, or we'll do live, or however we're doing it. I'm talking more as like a secondary podcast, getting more results, getting more information from each result, and just kind of sitting here and saying, hey, here's a quick interview with Terry Miller, who just won, the Terry Miller Open. So here's Terry Miller, who just won the Terry Miller Memorial.
Keep your hand in your own box.
So
Michael says. I think it's all about managing the expectations of the individual events.
Of course.
And exactly what we're talking about. Are we talking about a weekly podcast? Are we talking about a highlight show during tournaments? I mean, these are all different situations.
How realistic would it be to reach out to, let's just say, the PDGA or Chuck Kennedy or whomever is in charge of the TD report? That would require timeliness. Never mind. And I was going to say, the TD report, which most of the time gets updated preliminary for scores.
Okay.
To have just a comment section in there to say interesting stories or storyline of event. Just give us
because the TD report doesn't need to be updated.
I know,
or submitted. TD report can usually has,
or even in the scores, so that says something like, and then the PDGA can pass that on to us. I know it's pie in the sky because that's just a lot more work for the PDGA, but just say something like a 3-sentence summary of what happened at your event, like so and so won wire to wire.
I'd rather call the winner.
It's such a pain. Think about all the events there are. I'd rather get a summary and be able to look at, like, okay, there were 15 main events, 15 B tiers or whatever this weekend. I want to go over and look for the top 5 or 6 or 7 that have a good storyline, or so and so shot a good round, or anything like that. Hopefully the TD would know. And again, it all comes down to, we can't be everywhere. I could sit and read you results and bore you out of your mind.
I think,
but
I know.
It does no good. And we've seen people do that. Disc Golf Radio did that.
Take the PDG out of it and just send every TD a event wrap-up submission online form and say, hey, can you take 2 minutes and just fill this out? And there's the question. Who won? How'd they win? Was it cool? Yeah. Anything interesting happened?
We know who won because it's on the PDGA.
Okay. So then tell us how they won, and was there any story? You do that.
I could easily create a form. It would take 30 seconds.
Do it.
Do you think that TDs would fill that out?
Why would they?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we'd have to give them incentive. We could talk about them. We could say, we're going to talk about you. We'd like to highlight your video.
Or even if they
highlight your event.
Yeah.
You'd have to give them some incentive to want to do that. Because when I'm done running a tournament at the end of the weekend on Sunday night, my first thought would be, I better write up a quick paragraph so Smashbox can talk about it.
Yeah, maybe they would. I'm just saying if someone wants their event highlighted, and maybe I'm not saying that we're going to push more people to your event, but we could. If we talk about you and or talk a quick thing about your course or your event, and I'm not promising we would cover it for more than 2 to 3 minutes, or even more than a minute on some of these events, it wouldn't hurt to have. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll put it out there and see if there's any sort of response.
I think it's a great idea. See what kind of response you get on it. I don't think you're going to get much.
I don't think so either. And even if it was just a month, like someone says, maybe a monthly recap, because it doesn't even have to be weekly. Because, again, Disc Golf Radio did it. We've had other people do it where they just sit and read the results. Like,
it couldn't be any more boring.
It couldn't be any more boring to hear Terry Miller shot 4 down, followed up by John Van Dersen, who shot 3 down, followed up by third place, so-and-so, Steve Held, who shot 12 over.
Mm-hmm. Want Steve.
Next event.
Yeah. No,
that's boring. I would want something a little bit more storyline based, and even if it's just a quick story, like John and Terry came down to the last 3 holes where then Terry deuced out and Johnny hit a tree.
Threw out of bounds every hole.
Yeah, threw out of bounds every hole and choked and then tripped down the stairs.
Yeah.
Terry literally carried Johnny over his shoulder the last hole.
Yep.
Just some sort of story I think is good or possible. I think most events have something. Or even, it doesn't have to be men. It could be women. If there's a good women event or a good junior amateur thing, it doesn't have to be open.
Maybe the question is, what was the best storyline at your tournament? Maybe you leave it open-ended, and they tell you.
Yeah.
Google Forms.
Yeah, I know. That's what we did. That's what
Google Forms. Use it.
We used Google Forms.
Check it out,
for our giveaway at the Memorial this year for the basket.
You just have to pay
I'm
me
very
to use
familiar
them.
with Google. I know you. That's something you're horrible.
At what?
At information transfer. So we have a document every week that we have,
which is a pain in my rear to get to. That's why I don't use it.
Really? Like the link that I send you every Tuesday,
and then I have to log into one of my 92 Gmail accounts.
So you have to log.
Yes.
So would it help if we put it on a different format? If we made a Slack?
Put it in my Dropbox. See, you don't use Dropbox. I do. That's the difference.
Dropbox is a pain because we have to share it with like 4 or 5 people who use the thing.
There you go. You can share a Dropbox folder with 4 or 5 people.
What's the difference between Dropbox and Google Docs?
I'm in Dropbox every day, and I'm never in Google Docs. That's the difference.
I'm in Google Docs every day.
There you go. And there you go.
Yeah.
That's why I don't use it.
Exactly. The problem is I do most of the producing of the show.
Yeah, you do.
I'm the one that creates the form. I'm usually the one that organizes whatever and hands it. You do a lot of the talking, but I'm doing all behind the scenes stuff. So
all my stuff's right here, buddy.
Exactly, which does me and everybody else zero good.
No, I don't know about that.
If you can't figure out which Google account to log into, I send a link every Tuesday and says, here's the updated show docs. Just add what you want to talk about.
And then the first thing it says is, log out of this and log into that. And
you click on it and it probably says,
wrong account. You can't edit it. That's what I did today.
Okay. And you can't log into your other account?
And then I did. I'm like, this sucks. And then I wrote notes for you. What are you whining about?
You wrote a couple notes, and I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
They weren't really formatted, but whatever.
Well, because they were quick thoughts.
That's fine. And at least there were notes in there this week, but most of the time you don't even do that.
I don't even do that.
I know. But yet I watch you open up like a notepad, and I'm thinking like, well, that does me no good because I can't get any information. Like if you say...
You know where I store that notepad? In Dropbox. That's where it gets
I would be
stored.
surprised if it was there.
It is.
I would be surprised.
I will show you right now.
All right.
I
believe you.
I put my notes into a Dropbox because I put everything in Dropbox.
Drop it in your Google Slack box. Yes, Marty. I would be happy with Slack, but I don't think this slacker would use Slack.
Heyo. Jenny Cook called me a slacker today. I don't appreciate that, Jenny. Get your new group up and running. There was a few things posted up earlier.
I know, I'm looking right now. I'm scrolling up right now so we can read.
To get caught up with everything else you guys had chimed in with. I do want to point this out. Marty Gregoire, Media Marty, had said that Hans as well as Justin, our 2 new board members, are great additions to the board. I would expect that. I think I voted for both of those.
They both have strong opinions and aren't afraid to speak their mind, which is what we need.
As long as they agree with us. Just kidding. Country, how is a series with different media people involved in the sport?
How about a series? Like a podcast with different media? Like we have a Marty Gregoire or a Joe Mez podcast. Well, I mean, one of those guys is already they're already doing their own podcast. I saw that the /r/disc golf podcast is getting segments and asking questions for their second podcast.
That's cute of them. No, awesome to see. So yeah, there's a number of people doing various podcasts. I want to know. There's a few that have. I don't know if they've. I was going to say come and gone. Yeah. I don't know if they've gone.
There's a disc golf media.
I don't listen to any other podcast of any kind, disc golf or otherwise. So I don't. Not really. I guess I really, I guess I passively listen to a few if they come across my way. I just don't actively seek any out. Disc Golf Show, huge fans and supporters, and you guys keep doing what you're doing, which is awesome. We appreciate all the love and support you guys give us. Local, Mike Solt. I don't know if Mike Solt. I was on his at one point. I don't know if he still records those and put those out. I don't know. Maybe somebody can let us know.
Somebody out here. Country Disc Golf says, Terry, I recommend using a program called LastPass for your account management. I reckon that was like one of my third or fourth
it was, way back.
Picks in the
Now, so here's my question with LastPass. That won't help me.
No, it won't because
when you go to Google and it says, hey, do you want to sign in this account? There's 19 accounts that I have that are Google. So if I click on one, will it put it in?
It should. As long as here's what I found. If the passwords are different, yes, it should because it'll have a little star.
Oh, and if it's the same for all of them, it's not going to know which one to log into.
I'll say this: I have an Amazon account, and it's weird because I have different usernames but the same password. Sometimes it freaks out on me, but for the most part, yes. If you have, it'll have a little star with a number 2 next to it saying, "Oh, you have 2 accounts on this service." So you click on it and say, "Click, click, click." But
yeah, that was one of Johnny V's pick of the weeks in the first.
Yeah, LastPass.
Couple of weeks.
I use it at work. It's phenomenal.
How about the longtime friends Squabble
broadcast?
Go back up. What did that say?
I don't know. I didn't.
recommend you.
How about the Longtime Friends Squabble podcast? That's where this is going. Andrew, you're right. They're
that's what happens when he's wrong.
Oh God.
Anyone have questions about the Hall of Fame Classic that went unanswered? How cool is MJ? MJ super cool.
MJ is super cool. I know we didn't really. We congratulated Paige. We said that MJ won in the fourth hole on the fourth hole playoff. I believe it was fourth or fifth hole. So we
fourth hole,
but we didn't. Yeah, we didn't talk a lot about the event, but there wasn't much.
And we weren't really there, unfortunately.
Yeah, we couldn't see much other than what everybody else saw.
I do have a neat idea for that after the show that I wanted to talk to you about. So remind me later. And Country Disc Golf says, "You mean you don't seek advice from Bobby Brown, Paige Bierkus, and Eric McCabe?" I have listened to a few of the Disc Golf Answer Man podcasts. It's honestly, I don't really listen to hardly any podcasts at all. There is one I have listened to, and that would be one of them, and it has been.
Sure.
But I would not claim that I'm all caught up on all of them either. I think one of our advantages, and they admit it as well, I think at some points, is that we're not real. Not that they're restricted, but they definitely have a more centralized focus with some of their products and reviews and things of that nature.
Yeah.
We have the liberty to really to discuss anything we want.
And I've said this about other podcasts. I try not. It's not that I'll say one thing. I don't want to listen to some of them just because I don't want to sound like I don't want the excuse that I'm repeating something somebody else says.
Correct.
So
yeah, me too.
When we talk about something, I want it to be from my thoughts, not somebody else's thoughts that I heard that maybe somehow got in there. And so when I say, I think X, Y, and Z, I know for a fact that I thought that. It's coming from me.
Yeah.
It's nothing that I've gotten from another podcaster. So it's hard. Sometimes after the fact, if someone says something real interesting, I may go back a week or two later and say, listening to X, Y, and Z, yeah, okay, that's another good way to think about it. But I am not current on podcasts. If I listen to them, it's usually at least a week or two later.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that, because when I listen to other people, a few of the shows that I have listened to, and I hear similar things, and they may have been out either before us or just after us or whatever, I almost hate that the similar things are being said, because I think somebody could be thinking, well, is he just copying them, or are they copying him, or whatever? And it's kind of funny along those lines, and I know I kind of opened the show talking a little bit about the new change of the guard of all of our late night and a lot of our shows, and that, whether it's Comedy Central or any of the network shows. Because I do watch a number of them, I TiVo some, and I'll have them on in the background. It's funny how now I forget the exact joke, but there was a joke that was nearly word for word identical between two of the late night shows in the last few nights, and obviously a lot of the jokes are similar.
Yeah,
but it was almost verbatim this joke, and I was just thinking, like, that's so funny that these writers.
I'm sure some of them are teed up, and it's just set there.
So easy for them to do.
And Gregoire, I'll say this: it's not too hard for Terry to remember which account he needs to log into, because it's our Smashbox account.
I have two Smashbox accounts. You set up the Disc Golf Guy at Smashbox.tv, and I own SmashboxTV at gmail.com. And SmashboxTV at Gmail half underwrites almost all of our Smashbox stuff.
What do you mean?
Like, it's one of the main accounts.
Let's switch it over.
I don't know how.
Switch it over. Put everything under Terry at Smashbox.
No, that's why.
It's not Terry. It's the Disc Golf Guy at Smashbox.
Exactly. I have two main Smashbox accounts. So if I wanted to go in there and create our show right now or do something related to our show, I have to log into Smashbox.
Why not share? Why not make owner? Like, you've made me an owner under my personal account.
I tried doing that one day and it didn't work. So then I quit.
Okay.
I did.
I believe you.
I clicked on the little add account to link the two accounts together. Didn't work.
Country Disc Golf. Oh, yeah, Fat Jew alert. Yeah, there's a lot of comedians that are really upset about him, the fact that he just kind of basically took what they did and propagated it out there without any sort of accreditation, and he made some pretty good money off of it and got some deals. So go ahead and take a look out there for the at Fat Jew. That's FATJEW, just like it sounds. the controversy out there, and it's a real interesting
I
read.
haven't even heard about it. What's
So
the deal?
more or less, so imagine you came up with something really funny on Twitter.
All the time. Just last night, I said, "Where do I go with all my great ideas for boxers?"
That's not funny, but
It was.
like a lot of like comedians and they put memes out there, whatever. More or less, what he was doing and his staff taking them, not saying where they came from, repopulating them. So more or less, he was consolidating,
making it sound like he was
almost like him or his crew came up with it, and putting it all in one place. So people just, I just signed up for this account. I don't care who came up with it. And most people don't care. It's like,
No.
that's funny. The problem is the person who came up with it cares.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so he did that. He ended up getting a contract with one of the major agencies. There was talk of a Comedy Central show, which right after the controversy hit, they dropped him.
No, of course.
Boop, no thanks.
As they should, especially if.
But I mean, I guess he is a real comedian. He does his own
Sure,
stuff.
but
And now he's trying to go back through all of his posts and put like who they were from, things like that, saying, "Oh, it's a big misunderstanding," when actually I just think he didn't care. He didn't think it'd come back to bite him.
Huh.
Yeah, like
Wow.
Carlos Mencia, who's accused of stealing jokes and this and that.
And I think that's nearly impossible because I enjoy myself a lot of stand-up comedy. If there's one thing that I kind of put on if I'm killing time the other night, I watched a special. It just made me laugh. But I think the same thing too. Like, I mean, there's only so many ways to regurgitate either jokes or punchlines or whether they're exact or not. And I know Carlos Mencia, he was definitely I don't want to say pigeonholed. He was definitely marked for that or really known for that.
Yep.
And I think to this day you can always argue about, well, who came up with it and or who performed it first, or did somebody hear it before someone else?
Sure.
Those are all here was one of my challenges that I was thinking about the other night though was I know again people give me a lot of a hard time for saying a lot of similar phrases or saying the same phrase a lot. I'd like to think of I'd love to hear some of the other phrases that people would use. Like one that I've been accused of, which I've said, especially early on, I always used to say right in the heart of the chains. And I still say that.
Yeah.
I realize. Dead center. I mean, part of any commentator's job, obviously, is their vocabulary.
There's sweet spot. There's,
How many times can you use it before either, do you have to switch them up? Let's say you have 4 main terms for a perfect putt right in the center of the chains. Mm-hmm. You have 4 terms. Should you be cycling through all 4 of those? And mind you, this is kind of a legitimate question because I didn't take any journalism classes ever. But should you be rotating those 4 so that like 2 are never used at back to back?
Yeah, I would think you wouldn't want to use the same. Let's say there's 18 holes on the standard course.
Do I need 18 different terms for 18 really good putts in the center of the chains?
No. I think you need about 6 or 7, and then just try not to repeat the same one over and over. Because let's just put it this way: odds are you're not going to use a phrase more than 2 times on a single hole. Like you're not. You can easily just say, "And that one's in." Or you don't have to be clever like heart of the chains or he scraped the chrome off the basket on that one or something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You can
that was a paint chiseler right off
right off the basket or something. It's
what's the paradiddle technique? Is that something I should be Googling?
Actually.
Yeah, I've never said puts the biscuit in the basket. I think I've heard that from other commentators. That's just not a phrase I've ever uttered. I'll say this is another reason why I kind of don't always take in a lot of other disc golf media. I don't want to pick up someone else's. For a long time, Billy Crump had his Billyisms or his Crumpisms where he said a lot of things. Crazy John has a very specific set of terms and things that he uses a lot. I don't want to accidentally pick up on one of them. I feel like that's part of their identity, and I want some of my own identity. Another one that I say quite frequently is, he'll take the birdie 3. Some people have criticized that, and
I've got no problem with that. That's good.
My challenge with
that
is I want people to know Like, I could say, yeah, he takes the birdie, but if it's a par 4 hole that may or may not have been either cleared before.
No, that's perfect. I have no problem with
I
that.
say that a lot, though. He takes the birdie 2 or the birdie 3 or the par 4 or whatever. I'm trying, obviously, to be descriptive.
I mean, if it's a birdie 2, you can say a deuce.
I hate the term deuce. He takes a deuce. I don't like the phrasing. Like when
you don't say he deuced the hole.
Okay, but I'm just saying I also don't want to, just like I try to refrain from and I catch myself doing it. Oh, he threw up to the basket. Like, it's just, if you really think about it, you say he threw up. He threw up the hill.
No, I know.
Those are little things that I'm trying.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, sometimes, well, no, most of the time, I'm also challenged by the fact I've got you talking in my ear.
Correct.
More often than not. I'm somewhat directing a cameraman.
So here's what you need to do.
And I'm doing like 9 other things and trying to sound mildly intelligent.
Fail. You need to write down a list of things, and then every once in a while I'll feed you a couple.
Oh, good one.
So then I can say, all right, Terry, use biscuit in the basket.
Yes.
Yeah. Use Heart of the Chains.
You haven't used Dreamcatcher yet.
You haven't used Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, that's what I think I need to do. You're
caught the spider web, right?
Yes, exactly. Money, that's perfect. Solid putt. Nice putt from. Bangs one from. All different ways. Anyway, this goes on and on. I'm by no means am I complaining or anything, but I think of the bingo cards and I think of all that. And again, some of this is just our personality.
Here's what I don't know, and I don't know why it bothers me. You use the term perfect so much,
or beautiful.
Beautiful is one. But,
another good one that is.
But
I found
perfect just it's like nails. It wasn't a perfect shot. A perfect shot goes in the basket. Oh, that was a perfect drive. No, he's 30 feet.
Really? I use that a lot.
You use perfect a lot. And I know you don't notice yourself doing it, but I'm like, I believe you. Like, that's 30 feet away. That's not a perfect drive. A perfect drive is
Do I say nearly perfect? I think I say nearly perfect.
Maybe.
I think I say nearly perfect. There's a big
might
difference.
Sometimes still.
30 feet away could be nearly perfect on a 500-foot hole.
I agree. But I hear you say the term perfect a lot, and it's like for me it's nails on a chalkboard.
I don't blame you. One of the
when someone passes out, you can't use that term anymore.
Well, which one? Yeah, it's in the effing chains, and I know I've joked about this too. Again, because everybody's like, "Oh, this would be so easy. Me and my buddy should have a 6-pack and be calling shots." Try calling shots. And being PC and not swearing.
Yeah.
That's tougher than a lot of people think, because everybody's like, oh, me and my buddy, we get all drunk, and we would totally do that. That'd be so effing... Wait, oops, sorry, I can't say effing.
You say cleans up a lot, which is fine. I don't mind the term cleans up, but not... Yeah, you got to be careful.
Another easy one, and I put myself on it, absolutely. And I found out that's a reporting, journalistic... crutch for everybody. Our good friend Jamie Thomas, recently I was watching something he uses absolutely a lot, and I think, and I know I do, a lot of people do. It's so easy. It's just like one of those affirmation words, like
absolutely is like really emphatic, like he absolutely hit that putt.
Or you say to me, man, that was a perfect drive. I'm like, absolutely. It's such an easy confirmation phrase. And I say it all the time, and it's funny because I picked up on Jamie Thomas recently doing it.
Oh, Jerko, we're not nitpicking here. We're just this isn't people complaining particularly. This is just throwing it out there, saying what ways can we be better? What ways can we can Terry strengthen his vocabulary?
Yeah,
and be less repetitive.
Yeah, and I realize that. Again, everybody's going to have a little bit of their own style. Some people are going to have their own words. I do not. I don't feel like I have my own anything of my own branded phrasing. I think, Steve Dodge was one that did back when he did his own commentary by things like straight as a string or smack gap or things that he would used to say that were very specific to him. Crazy John has things that are very specific to him. Billy Crump had, warm butter on a hot roll. Like that was very specific to him. And other phrases. I'm certainly not out to copy any of those. I don't really have any of my own.
You got more chains than Run DMC. I don't mind that one. I always thought it would be a fun game if we had like if we picked one viewer submitted phrase that you have to say during the podcast or during a broadcast. Something just off the wall, but not offensive.
To see if I could work it in.
To see if you could work it in.
Oh, I would be up for that challenge. Fallon does that.
Yeah, we've
kind of. But
we've talked about it during the broadcasts before, and it just nothing ever became of it. Like
okay. I've never heard of that. That being talked about, but I would be so up for that challenge.
What are your thoughts on stroke versus throw? Chuck Kennedy.
It so means nothing to me.
Correct. Chuck Kennedy gets up in arms about this. Up in arms. You like that?
Yeah.
So you know how some people really, it's like it's not a stroke, it's a throw.
That's nitpicky.
You're frankly, what is a stroke? You do a stroke in swimming. A golf swing is considered a stroke. My arm makes
very much a stroking motion. Absolutely.
Motion. So that is such a nitpicky little thing. I have no issue if people go either way with that. People that do have a real issue and are looking to nitpick there.
Yeah, I'll summarize it by saying that's not a battle I'm willing to fight or care about.
No.
To me, that is really that's so nitpicky. To me, it just doesn't bother me. Sorry. If it bothers you, I can understand it.
As Marty says, as in she lost 2 strokes to Paige with that bogey. You want to say she lost 2 throws to Paige? That makes no sense because what if she went out of bounds? It was really only 1 throw that went out of bounds. You lost.
You wouldn't say she lost 2 pegs,
2 points, 2 numbers. So
2 individuals, or as you hear the champ refer to sticks. But I lost to him by 2 sticks.
Yeah.
None of that is really applicable. If it's like a personal pet peeve, I understand how it can probably irritate you, but it's not enough for me to take on.
Yeah, that's Ken Stanzu says hole or basket. Again, that's another thing.
The technical term
is a pole hole.
Is a pole hole. That is the registered trademark term for. And it's funny because when I was instructing disc golf to a handful of guys that were here from the East Coast yesterday, all in their 60s and 70s, I said we walked towards it to do a little putting thing, and I said, this is called a basket, a hole, a pole hole, a target, a cage, a net. I've heard it called 100 different things. Excuse me. I said the technical term is pole hole, but we almost all call it a hole. Yeah. Pole hole is, if you look up how Steady Ed patented it. That's hard to say. If you look it up though, it's a pole hole.
That term was way more relevant back in the late 90s, early 2000s. You'd hear a lot more now. It's just basket or hole.
Yeah, and people sometimes, like, Kleenex or whatever, people use disc catcher. Some people say, look at the disc catcher. And disc catcher is obviously a specific branded target by Innova. However, some people use the term generically as
I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say that. That is not PC.
Phoenix,
you're right, Phoenix.
You chimed in with a perfectly appropriate comment.
I agree.
that would not sound
for
right.
audio listeners. If you really care, you can go out to the Smashbox, the YouTube and dig out Phoenix Ruger Redbird's comment. So it made me laugh.
But yeah. Anyway, so terminology, it's something, and I'm not getting all whiny here, but it's not as easy as some think. So it would be funny having guest commentator. You can't really do that though. We can't really play around with that. But having commentating is funny, and yeah, I guess I got a lot of different ways. But anyway, it seems like Pierce has had some controversy. She's the best female open pro at this time. It seems like Pierce had some controversy. I don't know what the controversy was as to if she's the best right now, because I don't think that's a controversy.
I don't think so. I think she's the best. I don't think there's a controversy about that.
Or did something controversial happen recently? But
yeah,
that I don't know of.
I mean, I know there's a rivalry between her and Kat, but that's just because they're both at the top of their game, fighting for wins. I mean, that's gonna be that way no matter what.
Just thinking of Smuggler's Notch, I think I heard you mention them in this amazing resort I'm going to. I think we're going to see Katrina, Val Jenkins, Sarah Hokum, and I know there was another really super competitive person right there with them this weekend. That should be awesome to watch them battle it out. But Paige and Madison? I don't think I saw them on the list. No, I don't believe they're going to be there.
I don't think they're going to be there. I think they're going to be at USDGC a week or two later. But
Gregoire, thanks for not reminding me. But calling all women, because I'm sure there's one or two listening right now. Calling all women, get signed up for the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championships. It's taking place next weekend. I think I saw that the registration count had actually kind of skyrocketed up to 50 from where it was at. It was much lower. I want to say it's around 45 or 50. So taking place over in mid-Ohio in the Marion area. Delaware, Ohio, I believe, is also
it's up to
one
52
of the
as of this morning.
Oh, it was so close. I said 50. I think it was 50 this morning. So
Gregoire says 52.
Marty Gregoire, your PDGA media manager, I believe, is actually... you can test it out with him. He is the TD on record this weekend. Or assistant TD. I think he's the TD on record. So send him your form. Tell him to submit something cool or interesting about this weekend's event. And we can talk about it. But yeah, Marty Gregoire, I believe, is running a tournament this weekend.
This is a major event that will get some major coverage. That's not what we're looking for. I mean, it'd be nice.
His Checkered Open is?
Oh, the Checkered Open. I thought you were talking for some reason about like the women's thing.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Checkered Open this weekend.
Oh, yeah, the Checkered Open. Something along those lines then,
At Brookside Park. You don't know about it? No? Okay. So, Marty, make sure you submit something for Johnny V.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice for this weekend, which is I don't know what the term is. I don't want to say a fall from grace, but the Eric Yetter Champions Cup or the Eric Yetter Memorial event was a staple as a very premier
up until the mid 2000s
A tier. And I'm not sure. I mean, the course is phenomenal. The people out there, John Berkeram, John McGinley, that whole crew, Rex, all those guys are just so phenomenal. I love the course.
Is the Checkered Flag Open happening up in Appleton?
No, but it would. They wouldn't, that bar. But yeah, it's too bad because we're seeing there's literally 2 players over 1,000. Oh, I'm sorry, 4. Little lover boy there, Nate Cron, Andrew Fish, Jeremy Colling, and Joey Mila.
Sure.
Only 4 players over 1,000 that are at that event, and that was a premier A tier for so many years. And I don't know if it's just the timing of it or what, but
who knows? Look what happened to the GLO. It died. Like it died a death of 1,000 deaths, and now it's coming back. Brent Hambrick, it never died, but it faded a little bit for a couple of years. It wasn't one of the premier stops like it used to be. Now again, it still gets it's still a solid event the past couple of years, but there was 3 or 4 years where it didn't seem like it was a destination for a lot of these players. So, like even now, the Brent Hambrick gets split up. We had a bunch of pros come to Wisconsin instead of play the Brent Hambrick.
Sure.
That you'd never get that years ago, and I think that goes to show you the amount of events you're getting, the draw that some events are getting over others. You'd never skip the Hambrick years ago.
I was just thinking that right before the USDGC is the United States Amateur Doubles Championship. I should probably go play in that. Find a partner.
You and I? Are you going to find a good partner?
I'd probably find a better partner. But that'd be kind of funny to go play in that event taking place down in Charlotte before the USDGC. That'd get me all warmed up.
Oh, yeah, I can't go.
Oh, sorry. I got to check my email. I heard there was a near ace that came in. Is that what?
Looked like it was wedged in the side from 100% Conejito.
Huh. All right.
Juno, whatever.
Our cookies are all right for my minis in this tourney. Yes. Well, I'm just going to say yes wherever you go. Yes. Just use cookies. Thanks, Country Disc Golf. We, as always, we appreciate the support. You logging in, checking things out, talking us up, and promoting us and doing whatever you can. We certainly appreciate you chiming in and being here. Durko has not made one.
Don't say it. Why jinx it?
Avery Jenkins it? One Avery Jenkins or Barsby reference.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew Williams is chiming in with a little information saying, Tyler State Park is now 2 18-hole courses, and it's so well maintained. It's a really beautiful property. It is. I put Tyler up easily in my top 10, if not top 5. I would say top 5. I think I'm going to go ahead and say Tyler State Park is in my top 5 disc golf facilities to visit. It's unbelievable. It's just so amazing. And like I said, that was a very premier event for many years, and the tour is that much tougher, and I think the tour is that much longer and grinds on people more. That, here we are in September, there's a few people that the national tour is done, USDGC is next, and then some people are kind of calling it after that, and so we're not seeing the people that we used to see for that event, which is too bad. Cool. All right, Phoenix, stepping outside the Smashbox and going to bed. Good night. We will see you next week. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
I'd like to join you. Not in bed, but going to bed myself.
Hey-yo. That's awkward.
Or maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's nice to cuddle with.
Maybe. The tour is over. The season is over after the USDGC. Says you, Marty. We've got big things to cover and places to go.
That's right. We don't stop. You might take a break and quit after October.
Once you get the checkered flag, but not us.
We're going to keep on chugging.
Terry, is that the park we played at the 2004 Pro World Championships? It is not, Durko. In 2004, we had played over at the Allentown courses.
Yep.
In Jordan Creek and Tinicum, Nakamixon, and Lehigh Valley. Yes. Yes. Named all 4.
Phoenix says he doesn't roll like that. Whatever.
He's still telling me to check my email. I keep getting
He
sidetracked.
sent it to... Okay.
No, I think
make sure to send it to the right account. He sent it to Terry_Pro Disc Golfer.
I think he's just doing that because you probably can't put in email.
No, I know, but you got to make sure to send it to the right account. Don't send it to the wrong. Don't send it to Disc Golf Guy at Smashbox or Terry D. Miller at Gmail or whatever your email account is.
His almost ace. Yes, I am seeing it now. Looks like I'm sure, as you know, if you wedged it in from the that wedged in from the front though.
I could see that. It gets in, it bends, like it comes in at an angle and kind of goes, and the momentum moves it.
Oh, okay. So I'm seeing it now that it was wedged in into the basket. Again, as you know, if it came in from the front, that does not count.
Sorry.
It looks like a G-Star Rock 3.
They always do that.
You're welcome for the shout out, Innova. We'll send you a bill. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Wow. That's. I don't know if you can be mad about that.
No, still a
deuce.
It doesn't get an easier
He took
deuce.
a deuce. Can I say that? He took a deuce there. You told me to say it.
I said a deuce. Yeah. No, I didn't say take a deuce. He deuces the hole.
Oh, okay. Now I know. So yeah, nice shot. How long was the hole? And give us a few details here online. We'll talk about it.
110.
Sweet.
The G-Star just crushed it.
Wedged in the cage isn't as close as a splash out, though. Ask Macbeth what it's like almost to get an ace.
Oh, Macbeth spit out on 13, apparently. I haven't watched any of the footage yet from this weekend. I haven't had a chance, so...
Now, Gomez, are you still live? Are you still out there? You're still alive. I bet you're alive. But are you still out there? Did I understand both you and your brother, as well as Prodigy, were both covering lead card? Is that what I saw? That's what I thought I saw in like a photo. And again, I haven't really watched any of the footage. I do want to say that your intro was great. Your intro to the weekend was great. However, I wasn't sure if you guys both covered the leader card on the final day or not.
We bored him to death, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Well,
yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. He died 3 hours ago. No, he was on here like 2 hours ago, so I don't think it was 3. But 150-foot par 3, hole number 11 at Wells Branch in Austin, Texas. Congratulations. It was dead center. Just got to the pole like there were no chains there, basically.
Oh, so it came in at that perfect angle where it doesn't...
He's talking about something else. That's Durko. That spit was nasty. Oh, referring to...
Yeah, referring to Macbeth's. The fact that it came in, it probably hit the space between the chains and came in relatively hard, hits the pole and comes straight out.
Wow. I had Doss had aced. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Nate Doss aced. Hole 16 or 17 on one of the rounds. I thought that was it's really cool because you see the live scoring and then there's this dark green spot with the one that jumped out. And I thought I read somewhere that Sarah Hokum had aced, but then I couldn't find it in any of the live coverage rounds. They both did on the final day, Marty Gregoire says. They covered 2 different cards for rounds 1 and 2.
Daniel Peterson says, good morning from Sweden.
Oh, hey,
great
Daniel.
show. Keep it up. Thanks, Daniel. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Sweden's one of our bigger countries to download. Sweden and Finland, no surprise, for our demographics.
Epic with the MJ win also, that Heiser flip. Yes, he does it well. There's no doubt about that. We talked about that earlier.
Sweet sauce.
What are you doing? We got anything else that we need to cover here tonight?
I don't believe we do.
Okay, well, it's been fun. I'm in a better mood now than when we started. So
really, you were? Oh, because your car? Is that where you were?
No, I just didn't. Yeah.
Just in bad mood when you come to my house. Like, oh God, I gotta go by that guy again.
Yes.
No, I'm inundated this week with Boy Scouts, as Mason is my oldest. I'm sorry, my oldest, but technically I was gonna say my youngest boy, which he would be. I have a younger daughter. My oldest boy is getting into Boy Scouts now, and him and a bunch of his friends. So this week we had a meeting, our first meeting on Monday, yesterday. Mm-hmm. We go back Thursday, and then we have to go back Monday again, and then it's it's the first and third Monday of every month.
Wow.
So,
okay.
And it's a big whopping 50-cent dues every time we show up.
Oh my gosh.
But this is like some sweet.
Should we set up a GoFundMe for him?
Probably. I'll have him set one up. My dad won't pay for my dues. We'll create a real nice video with some piano music in the back. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So this week is all Boy Scouts as we're kind of getting that down pat. Yay.
Sweet. For those of you who don't know, I'll be at Smuggler's Notch in Vermont this weekend. I'm just kidding. I'm really looking forward to it.
I know.
I'm looking forward to being in Vermont with again the weather and the beautiful scenery that has been promised to me, and maybe I'll try some Nate Doss brewed beer.
I'm sure you will.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh yeah, if he gets that far, he'll be doing course maintenance. I'm sure.
This boy's building courses. Yes. Keep it up. I'm glad catch the tail end. Hey, Lance, how you doing, buddy? Yeah. Well, you're going to have to go back and do a little rewinding. We got some sweet action for you earlier. Did we? 3.5 hours.
It's not bad.
It's not good either. I won't go ahead and say it's good.
You guys have a fine sleep. I'd love to have a fine sleep, and I think we're going to have a fine sleep pretty darn soon here, so we can call it a night so I can get the podcast up and go to bed.
All right. Well, I got more video editing to do at some point.
I know. You'll probably sit outside my house and edit in your car and then steal my Wi-Fi.
That's the plan.
So,
Greg, we got talking to do, buddy. Lots of good talking.
Yep.
Hope you got. I'm wondering, maybe we should ask him right here on the show if Gregoire budgeted, like he's part of the media. He's the media manager for the PDGA. You would have to assume he budgeted no less than like $100K for us next year to be able to do our job well.
I would guess so.
Marty, you can let everyone know.
I mean, it's a low end. I would hope he budgeted more, but $100K sounds right for us.
We would oblige. So, $100K. Yeah, we could do some big things with that.
It'd be all right.
Right, Marty?
Yeah.
Thank you. $100K per month up front.
Oh, that's good. I mean, we do have our upfront costs.
Yes.
So your hairstylist that you have to bring with you.
Yes. That is
your makeup artist.
How funny would that be if it got out that we were paying a stylist before we were paying like a second cameraman?
So Joe Height shows up and like, Joe, we don't have the money this month to pay you for this event.
And who's Esteban over here?
Yeah, but Esteban here, who's doing Terry's hair, making some fat bank.
Yes, that's something that we could do. Yeah, 1.2 mil. Remember, the members are paying for that, so make sure you clear that one up. I think the members have spoken, Marty. They want
Marty, you give me all their email addresses, I will contact them.
Yes, the members have spoken. They definitely want more Smashbox more often.
Yeah.
more Smash,
and more
box.
weddings.
Yes, and more weddings. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and call it. It's I don't know how long was the regular show?
I don't know.
2 hours? 2.5?
Yeah, about that. About a little over 2.
Whatever. We've had enough after show. So, after show here on podcast number 53 for Johnny V and for myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy who's heading to Vermont this weekend. We will see you next week to talk about my trip that I just went to Vermont. We'll talk about that next week on podcast 54. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smash Box.